Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
25 seconds left. This will be from 38. The miss was from 38. Ross Matizik is the snapper. Kick on the way, and it is good! John Mayers, welcome to college football.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Hold by Gaither. Kick by Morales is up. The kick is up, and it is good! Overtime!
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Blitz, here they come again, and look out, and down he goes. Ball is out again. And the Eagles, on what appears to be a live ball, McLeod is going to take it all the way to the end zone.
Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
All right, here we go on this Friday afternoon. One of the first times, I think we've had two of these now since high school football season began back at the end of August. We've had a couple of Fridays where we were not not at a stadium. We're in studio. Here we are. Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina, David Smoke. Also, Armstrong is here as well today as we take you all the way until 6 o'clock. And a very heavy dose of what we have with high school football, including a couple of games that are statewide mega games. Highland Park at Longview, Cedar Hill and DeSoto in a battle of South Dallas. We'll have that, plus, of course, some others as well. We'll hear from Dave Aranda today. KJ Morton. But much more. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke. You know, it's been a week, a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. It's been a lot of, well, what's going on? What's wrong? How can Baylor win in Ames, Iowa?
Well, they have to block and tackle. Like, those are the two things they didn't do. Well, they haven't really done. I mean, tackled better than blocking, but they haven't blocked very well. If they start blocking and tackling, because if you take Breece Hall, take Brock Purdy, take Charlie Kohler and the other two tight ends and all that away, what Matt Campbell does is block and tackle really well. If they can do that, then they can win in Ames, Iowa.
Everybody but the defense, although now you have to lump them in because of last week. Every single person on this team plays better. Every single coach on the staff coaches better. That's how they beat Iowa State. I mean, you know, we've been talking about this all week, and now we're at the point where it's exciting because they're actually going to go play again, and we can forget about the last 3 games and all of that, but that's the taste that's been left in our mouths is what we saw last weekend and the week before and the game before, and it's very simple. The offensive line needs to block and actually block and hold blocks and give Charlie Brewer enough time to make a throw. Charlie Brewer has to have some more zip on the ball. Charlie Brewer needs to be more accurate. When he does have the call to run the football, he needs to take advantage of that. The coaches need to put these players in better positions as far as offensively in particular. Receivers need to catch the football. Receivers need to get separation. Receivers, really everybody on this team needs to be more physical. Running backs, you know, there's only so much that they really have given to them as a result of their blocking at times. But like Craig Williams last week, if you see a little bit of daylight, you better take advantage of it because you don't know how many times you're going to actually see daylight. So, like, I could go on and on. Mm-hmm. Special teams, make more than 50% of your field goals. That'd be good.
I think you got to even do more than that, especially with who you are. You got to shoot 85% of your field goals.
Point being, everybody has to play well. Everybody on this team from every aspect has to play well. And if they don't, if somebody, dragging down everybody else, like the offense every game this year, then it's going to be a long day.
All right, Paul, so you own a home, right? You have a house that is your house. And so, sometimes when you make a bet and you're kind of pretty confident, I'll bet my house on that. Would you bet losing your house that Baylor won't win in Ames, Iowa? Would you do that? Would you give up your house? You say, I'll bet there's no way they win.
No, I wouldn't bet my house. I mean, because I do have faith. Like most of these same players were on the team that beat most of these same players on Iowa State last season. So I know that the talent matches up well. The talent to me is not really in question, although I am starting to question the talent on the offensive line. But I don't think the talent is in question. I think the execution is in question. But I do think that, anything can happen. College football is weird. Look, Michigan State thumped Michigan last week. I know the final score is probably not indicative of an out-and-out thumping, but Michigan never led in that game after they beat supposedly a good Minnesota team the week before. So anything can happen in college football any season, especially in 2020 where everything's even weirder. So yeah, if this is the week that Baylor wakes up, then yeah, I wouldn't bet my house, but I wouldn't.
You wouldn't bet against them.
I wouldn't bet against them.
You would bet against them maybe if it was a reasonable thing, $20, $100, whatever. We have a lot to get to. We'll focus in on Baylor and Iowa State. The other games in the Big 12 as well include West Virginia at Texas. West Virginia with that impressive win against Kansas State last week. Texas with an amazing win, coming back despite all they won the game in Stillwater to jump back in the top 25, of course. Also, Kansas at Oklahoma, Texas Tech at TCU. That's Oklahoma's first home game in 42 days. And then Oklahoma State plays at Kansas State, and both of those teams definitely need a win. We'll also focus in on high school football. Last night, Katy High School lost to Tompkins. I had a note here. I saw this up on Twitter. Katy had won 75 consecutive district games that dated back 12 years. Jalen Milroe, former Texas commit, now Alabama quarterback commit, led Tompkins past Katy 24-19. Shoemaker struggled early but eventually separated from Bryan 42-30. Those are a couple of high school notes from last night.
That game was lost when Bryan decided to go for a fake punt at like their own 15-yard line.
Yeah, I saw that.
That game was close. Bryan was actually leading it. It was going back and forth, and then Bryan, I get trying to jump charge what you're doing, but when you here's the thing is Shoemaker scores in chunks. Like, they score on a big play. They don't drive the football. They have, 40-yard touchdowns, 35-yarders. That was all their scoring last night were, chunk plays. And Bryan makes the decision at, their own 20 or whatever it was to run a fake punt. And then that just laid it up for Shoemaker, and they never looked back.
So we'll have high school coaches David Woodard at West, John King, Carlos Lynn, and also Claude Mathers, Longview, Cedar Hill, DeSoto, Grayson Grunhafer at 3:45, KJ Morton at 4, Lee Sterling on Vegas at 4:25. We'll also hear from Scott Stewart at Temple. Tyler Holcomb at Riker. They found that game with Brazos Christian, and Dave Aranda from earlier this week, Baylor football coach at 5, and a good chance we might re-rack Kevion Gaither today as well at 5:30. So a couple of other notes in sports. The Pac-12 hasn't started yet. They already had one game that was canceled. Today, Utah has asked the Big 12, and they have said yes, to cancel their game against Arizona because a policy due to Utah not having the minimum number of scholarships players available.
Yeah, John Wilner is the best guy to follow Pac-12 football. He's on that beat in a major way. He knows all the ins and outs. He knows all the power players. And it's just funny to me. The Pac-12 had the last 2.5 months to see everybody else going through the start of their seasons, and they kind of sat back and, with their smugness, just sort of I wish you would have waited. That kind of a deal. You got those vibes coming out of the West Coast, which you get basically anytime you get any vibes from the West Coast is smugness. But, they're dealing with the same thing. How this is surprising to anybody, because I'm seeing certain people, college football writers, who I guess just love drama and they love guffawing over things. It's oh my God, this game's been canceled. What have we been doing for the last 6 weeks? Yep. Games canceled left and right. The Pac-12's just starting. Of course there's going to be some cancellations, and of course there's going to be cancellations when you have a super, petrified group of people in power, especially there in Berkeley with Cal. Cal might not play a game this year with how stringent and petrified the Berkeley folks are over this, their health department over coronavirus. So I think the Pac-12 is going to be messy because of political reasons as much as anything else. And it's not surprising games are getting canceled.
Okay, so here's the logic in starting early. The logic in starting early, like the other conferences did, was we know that there's going to be another wave.
Right.
So let's see what happens before there's another wave, and then we'll deal with it. So ultimately, the goal is, however you feel about coronavirus, we're going to have to learn how to live with it. And yes, certain things are going to have to, be shut down or curtailed, but that doesn't mean that the world has to go into a cave until it's over. And that's what the other conferences said, look, we have to find a way to deal with this for not only, just for the sake of playing football, but for the sake of college athletics. God in heaven, the swimmers and divers and gymnasts and all these other people who are not going to have an opportunity now because they're shutting everything down. Well, they're doing that, and they're rolling with the punches. The Pac-12 gave themselves, and the Big Ten too, gave themselves very little room to roll with the punches.
You're right, and so they're going to pay the price by having teams not play games, and there are no buffer dates. There's no, like, for example, we're not doing a high school game tonight. Conley and District 9 4A Division II, they're all done. And you know what? They played all their games. There were a couple of flare-ups with teams in the district, but they all ended up playing all their games. This was a week that was normally a week we would have had a game. They're all off this week. They all finished. There were buffer weeks built into it at the high school level. The 5A and 6A in Texas didn't start until late September because the bigger areas, bigger schools, bigger cities. And so guess what? There are some games that are still being canceled. Belton and Harker Heights is postponed, but they're still there. Here we are. They're 4 weeks or 5 weeks into their season, and there are buffer weeks built in or plans in case games are shut down.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Pac-12. For as smart as they want to act like they are and as cautious as they were, you could have seen this coming because of what you said. It's understandable if you want to go ahead and wait. I mean, there's an argument to be made for that, although I think we're hitting this second wave now, it seems like, because it's just firing up all across the country once again. So they're starting as the second wave's now hitting. So, okay, bad decision, bad timing. But if you're going to delay your season and then not account for any cancellations whatsoever and have no makeup plan whatsoever, this is what it's going to turn into, to where you're probably going to have like a team like Cal who maybe plays 3 games this year, maybe, or your champion's going to have played like 5 games total.
They're going to be 4-1 or something like that.
It's ridiculous. You should have, if you were going to delay, you should have had some way to massage this a little bit, but they have none.
Let's take a call. We take a break. We'll come back with West David Woodard. They're playing tonight in what is trying to decide one of the seeds in their District 7 3A Division I against Paul.
Stephen from Virginia have been very patient. You're on SicEm365 Radio.
Hey, guys. I wanted to talk about Charlie Brewer for a second. I know we've probably talked about him too much, but I wanted to kind of put an end to it because I wanted to say that if anybody truthfully watched that TCU game, we all know that Charlie is not coming out for the rest of the year unless he gets hurt. And I know y'all were talking about betting your house. It's not my house, but I bet it that Charlie isn't going to be coming out for Zeno or Gary. And that's okay because they both only got reps in about 2 games last year, Kansas and Oklahoma. And, you can't really take what you did against Kansas for face value. And there wasn't a big enough sample size for us to look at the coaches and say, what do you mean nobody's better in practice than Charlie? I can see that nobody's better in practice. But what that means is that the language around his defense needs to change. It needs to go from, well, if we thought someone would give us a better chance to win, it needs to go to Charlie's not coming out. Charlie's the senior leader, the way Smoke says it, because the fan base is riled up. And I got to be honest with you. The next couple of home games, I don't want to be hearing for Zeno or for Gary if we're down in the first or second quarter because it's not happening, and we need to have a reality check about it. So I just kind of wanted to say that.
Yeah, we appreciate that, Stephen. Thanks for the call. And, if Dave Aranda just came out and said, listen, we're not making a change unless just absolute, we just have no other choice. And some people may think that's already where you are, but he's made it clear. And it's not so much maybe about what you think of Charlie. It's what maybe the coaches right now at this time think of Bohannon and Orzino. And also, do they want to throw them into that too? No matter who may have more mobility or maybe have a better arm. They might be trying to save their head.
Why does nobody call for a new offensive lineman?
No, they never. Well, they could do that. You could spend a lot of time doing that in a lot of ways. All right, when we come back, David Woodard of West, they play Maypearl, and then rapid fire. Longview's John King, they host Highland Park as we go statewide today. Cedar Hill's Carlos Lynn. DeSoto's Claude Mathis. DeSoto and Cedar Hill, one of the best games in the state, not just this week, but anytime. We'll also hear from Grayson Grundhafer on recruiting. Did anything from last week hurt or help them? That and much more. This is SicEm365 Radio. A group of over 30 physicians in Central Texas. They contacted me because they're frustrated seeing patients fail at losing weight themselves by trying to do it like on them, do-it-yourself diets. So they opened up Muscle-Wise Nutrition, and they want me to tell you what it does. A lot of people who struggle with their weight sometimes find a way, they start to lose a little weight, and then all of a sudden realizing they're losing 25% of the weight that's muscle, and you don't want to lose muscle. They wanted to help share a different approach. Muscle-Wise Solution, a diet-managed program, substantial weight loss. In fact, over 19,000 pounds of weight has been lost with their various particular patients, targeting fat while sparing the muscle. Dieters seen weekly by a coach who performs detailed body composition analysis. And here's how you can find out more information. If you have just basically, man, I've tried everything, you've given up, try it one more time with this. SicEm365 at MuscleWiseNutrition.com. And one of their coaches will contact you very quickly and get you set up for a free educational seminar. Lose weight by losing fat and sparing your muscle. Start at MuscleWise Nutrition today at SicEm365 at MuscleWiseNutrition.com.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Experience award-winning service and expert advice on Ram at Allen Samuels. We'll make sure your Ram experience is everything you expect and more. Now, during the Black Friday sales event, new 2020 Ram Lone Stars feature employee pricing for all, plus 0% for 84 months or up to $3,750 in values. Get an additional $1,000 if you own a competitive brand. No trade-in required. Ram from Allen Samuels.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Graham Property Company will give you the best opportunities and services to navigate and achieve your real estate goals. At Graham Property Company, we strive to establish lasting relationships built on service and performance. Whether you are buying, leasing, selling, or investing, our real estate portfolio and expertise can facilitate your needs no matter what real estate or property need you may encounter. Graham Property Company, property sales, acquisitions, leasing, and management at GrahamInvestmentCo.com.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an an MRI? Ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI. This is SicEm365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The SicEm365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
District 7, 3A Division I, Grandview, two-time defending state champion. Looked like they're about to wrap up another district title. And then there's West Madison and Maypearl, and just a matter of how it ends up. And we're now joined by David Woodard, head coach at West, 7-2. They play Maypearl tonight. They're 3-2. West 4-1 in the district. And David, you guys have quietly had a very, very nice year. I know Grandview has run that district, and they were expected to. But is this kind of a team you have that's somewhat under the radar?
I think so. We were so young last year, and finished, found a way to get in the playoffs in third place and finished 4-7. And so, we had a lot of dudes that came back this year. And so I think, we were a little under the radar, and we've just kind of gotten better, it seems, each and every week as we keep going through this thing. And, looking forward to another big game tonight.
Do you feel like your guys know how to win games now, especially when they get close?
We do. I feel that we've been in some of these situations, especially last year. I think we started out 0-5, and to be able to find a way to win 4 of those last 5 and get in the playoffs and win a couple of big ones down the stretch, and be able to pull a couple out this year that have been tight. I think it's it's something that our kids are getting better at. They're understanding what it takes, all week, not just on Friday night. So hopefully we can use some of that experience tonight against a good Maypearl team.
What do you see from Maypearl?
They're number one, they're playing with a ton of confidence right now. They're like us. They got a lot of dudes that have played the last couple of years, and so they spread the ball around offensively. A lot of different guys touch. Defensively, they make some plays all over the field. And so, they're a really good football team, and they're playing really well right now at the right time for them.
You have been at West now, ever since 2007. That's also your alma mater. You were there as an assistant coach. You've been the head coach now. It's going on not quite 10 years, but you're getting close to that. What's that been like to be at your alma mater and experience success?
It's great. The community is real supportive for us, and we got a great administration and a great group of kids and a great group of coaches. And so, it's really cool right now, the success we're having, all year long, not just during football season. And so, it's exciting to be a small part of it. And, hopefully we can find a way to continue it and, have a good playoff run here this fall.
Coach, if somebody had come to you back in the springtime or even over the summer when decisions were being made on whether there was going to be a season or not, and you could take yourself from back then and talk to yourself now, like how amazing would that conversation to be to know that you guys have reached this point along with a lot of other teams across the state, not without disruptions, of course, but, just persistence and trying to find ways and being, trying to be as ingenuitive as you can be to try to make this thing work. And just how does that kind of feel to have reached, the end of the regular season?
It's amazing, actually, considering all that we've been through, and it's been a lot of hard work by a lot of people in some important places. From the head of the UIL all the way on down to us here at our local ISDs, and so it's taken a ton of work, and it's caused a lot of sleepless nights and a lot of headaches. But I think everybody was in it for the right reasons, for the kids to have an opportunity to get the season in, and just kudos to all of them for all the work that they've done to allow us to be able to be here tonight and have a chance to go play.
Trey Yannick, your running back, who had a big year last year. He's had a huge year for you, had 300 yards, 301 against Rogers. He is your bread and butter. Your thoughts about how he's done?
He's done good. He's only played running back a couple of years, and so, he's been able to understand what we asked of him and learn the little nuances of the position. And so, just proud of him and all of us offensively as to how we got going and the success that we're having.
Go ahead. There's a lot of Yannicks in West. Does he have just a built-in fan club because of that? If you just yelled out at a West game, "Hey, Mr. Yannick," how many people would stand up?
Yeah, there's quite a few. There's a lot of those names like that around here. And so that happens to quite a few of our kids.
Dave, thanks for your time, Coach Woodard. Appreciate you. Good luck tonight.
Thanks. Sure appreciate all y'all do for us.
Hey, you too. That's David Woodard. He's the head coach at West. They're 7-2. They had a loss early to Lexington. They lost to Grandview, but everybody has. They're 8-0 Grandview. They lead the district in 7-3A Division I, and West will play again tonight against Maypearl, who's had a nice run. They're 7-2, 3-2 in the district. And in that district 7-3A Division I, you want to avoid the number 4 seed. You always want to do that. But if you are the number 4 seed, you open up with Malakoff. And Malakoff, of course, is a sledgehammer and very, very good in District 8 3A Division I. Now, one of the other great games in the state, we're going to focus in on DeSoto and Cedar Hill. Then we get to Grayson Grudhafer on Baylor and Iowa State at 3:45. Dave Aranda today at 5. KJ Morton, former Baylor cornerback, today at 4 o'clock. But we're now joined by John King, longtime and incredibly successful head coach of the Longview Lobos. They host Highland Park tonight. John, I have a feeling, and it's great to hear from you, by the way, and have you on the show. Thank you. That after that first game, the loss to Temple, I know that the passing game and the quarterback position was kind of in a flux after having Haynes for those years. I think you may have gone back to what you do in bread and butter and run the football quite a bit. Am I right?
Well, you guessed pretty good there, Smokey. Probably what we should have done that night. We didn't know who we were, to be honest with you. We had to go back and find our identity. And, of course, running the football has always been a strong suit here. We've got running backs, and we're normally pretty physical in the offensive line and have tight ends. So, but, no, we had to do something, and we felt like that would be the strong suit for us to do offensively.
Coach, had you ever had a quarterback in your career that had started as many games as Haynes did?
No, I don't think we have. We've had a few 3-year starters, but I think he started the most games out of anybody. Of course, when you play 16 in 1 year and 15 the year before that adds up in a hurry.
Yeah, it does. And you have Highland Park tonight. They've obviously gotten off to an impressive start. They've beaten 6As. You've been 6A many, many times before. When the realignment came out and I saw Highland Park and Longview in the same district, I said, okay, when are they going to play? Has this been one of those that you've kind of had circled, or is it just another game?
Well, I'd be lying if I didn't say it wasn't a big game on our schedule. You know that. I mean, it's been since 1986, I think, since the two programs have faced off. But, we've had 5 other or 6 other games before this that have been pretty important as well. But, it's been a big game for our fans, I think, for our district and the whole state of Texas. There's been a lot of anticipation heading up to this one.
Did Highland Park bark about having to go to East Texas to play a football game like they did when they played Marshall in 2007?
No problems there. When we drew the district schedule, I mean, it was it's whatever number you get, and whatever. I don't even remember our number. I think we were number 6, and it worked out. We had them at home this year, and we'll have to go to their place next year.
Can you try to describe for someone who's never been at Lobo Stadium? Craig has been there many times. So have I. You know that. What it's like, that atmosphere, and really the crowd. And I know it's different now this year because of COVID. And has that affected you a little bit at home, considering what you used to have as a huge home field advantage?
Well, the COVID's affected everybody at home and on the road. You got to find a way to bring your own juice. It's just a different setting in the stadium that you play in. And, packed house at Lobo Stadium is definitely a hostile environment. I mean, that's probably the one regret I have about hosting this year with the COVID. It's a rabid fan base we have. They love their football. They love to park. They love to get into the game. Of course, you got our outstanding band. That's part of the fanfare that goes along with it. It's just it's going to be a packed house, and it's in the great setting here at Lobo Stadium. Behind the pine curtain and pine trees around the stadium, and that sits down in the bowl, and it's just one heck of an environment. And that's what our people live for during the fall, is Friday night football, and our fans come out and support.
Coach, this might be a strange question, but winning that state championship a couple years back and getting that weight off your shoulders, so to speak, how do you keep that same drive and that same passion? Because I can see how it would be easy to always have that drive when there's something you haven't accomplished, but when you've accomplished that ultimate goal, how do you keep that drive?
I've always coached like my job was on the line, and from the first game when I became the head coach to this week, I mean, that's just kind of how I feel about it. I mean, this ain't my program; it's Lobo Nation's program. My name's tied to it, and just kind of how I've always approached it, and how the staff and I approach it. I mean, hey, you're only as good as your next victory around here.
I will say this, is I think Longview, Texas, the atmosphere on game day is very similar to any of the big-time college football atmospheres, whether it's Tuscaloosa or whether it's Lincoln, some that have been more successful and others are places like that. Norman, obviously College Station, it's very similar. It's a great place, incredible tradition. So happy for you a couple of years ago. John, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Good luck tonight against the Scots.
You bet. See y'all.
That's John King, head football coach at Longview. They play and host Highland Park tonight. And boy, that's a great game. Highland Park is off to a great start, as always, after missing a couple of games earlier this year. Paul, we take a break here, come back with those two coaches. Okay, right with the other game in Dallas tonight. And this is also tied into that Midway and Waco High in District 11, 6A. Remember, they went to zones. In the South Zone, you have Duncanville, Mansfield, Midway, and Waco High. Duncanville's playing Midway tonight. And Duncanville, no matter what, they're going to win the South Zone. In the North Zone, you have Lake Ridge, Waxahachie, then Cedar Hill and DeSoto, two huge rivals. They play tonight, and I had a chance to visit with Cedar Hill's head coach Carlos Lynn and DeSoto's Claude Mathis, and here's Coach Lynn.
Cedar Hill's Carlos Lynn with me on SicEm365 Radio. A great matchup tonight, rivalry. It's a kind of almost a turf war in the area. Cedar Hill and DeSoto. Carlos, last year you got them, I think, pretty much in the last play of the game. This is a great rivalry. What does this game mean, knowing the district is loaded, but this one tonight with DeSoto?
It's a source of pride around here. Not only is it, a rivalry game. Our district is broken up into two zones. So this is essentially a zone championship game. And, we're just trying to make sure that we keep the main thing, which is, playoff seeding right now. So, but you can't ignore all of the hoopla. You can't ignore all of the things that make it the Battle of Beltline, and that's what makes it so special.
You have been able to get through after this week. You guys are through the zone play, which was the initial setup with you and DeSoto and others, but how thrilled are you got to this point, and it looks like, at least for now, that you're going to be able to play more than just the zone games.
Hey, it's a blessing, during these times that we're dealing with, with trying to keep our coaches and our student athletes safe. We're definitely grateful just to be playing. So to have an opportunity to play a game of this caliber and continue on as with the rest of this season, without not many glitches anyway, has been a true blessing.
You've played really well. You're both 4-0. DeSoto is 4-0, and so are you. But you have had some games, and you've had to wait. And how has your team, how have the Longhorns reacted and responded to the challenges the last 2 or 3 months, even 4 to 6 months?
We can only control what we can control, and that's kind of what we've been stressing to our guys is that, if they tell us we can't play, we can't play. So we have to be able to turn the page in our minds and go on to whatever is next. And my staff has done a tremendous job in making sure that we, maintain the proper perspective and the right focus when having to do that.
Does anything from last year, does that carry over at all? These games are always amazingly tight because you're both great programs. Does any of that carry over to this year?
Well, more so in thought and hopefully with a mental edge that hopefully favors us. That we have beaten the last two out of 3 times. So maybe that's looming in their heads. But for us, it's definitely a new day, a new season, and with new opportunities. So hopefully we can cash in and do what we've been doing all season long.
Claude, what does this rivalry mean to the area, to your program? You've been a part of it for a long time, to Cedar Hill. What does it actually mean? Can you try to put any kind of words of what it is?
Well, it's bragging rights for another year, and it's bragging rights for those seniors to be right now, because if you don't want to be the senior class to lose to your rivalry and have to live with that the rest of your life. So this is a big game for our community. It's a big game for our seniors. Our football team for sure, because we've lost 2 straight.
Yeah, you have, and last year was gut-wrenching. Is that one of those things that still sticks in the minds of your players and you?
Well, I look at it as I've lost one straight because I played them last year. That was my first year back.
I know.
And then, yes, that did stick with us. That stuck with us all year. And it's been over a year. We talked about this yesterday. It's been over a year since we played that game. And we're very happy it's finally getting here.
Can you explain the intensity? You've mentioned the bragging rights, and it's right there. You guys are next to each other. But can you kind of explain the intent? Because these are two fantastic football programs.
Well, I can tell you this. It's very intense. Sometimes it can be too intense because of what goes on before the game and what goes on during the week, and things are said that are not to be said, and we just can't get caught up in the things that we're doing this thing for, and it's for our kids. These kids know each other from both communities. That's why me and Joey had a great relationship when it comes to this game right here, because we want to make sure our kids understood that no matter what happens, you guys are still going to be friends because you've grown up together. You've been playing Pop Warner ball together. Your parents know each other. Let's not forget that. But at the same time, it's a rivalry game once you step on the football field.
How has your program handled the suspensions of play, the delays and all of that? And, of course, now you guys are at the end of your zone, and then the winner of this game plays Duncanville. How has your program handled it all?
Well, I think our kids have done a great job, and our staff has done a great job in holding everybody accountable and making sure that our kids understand what's going on throughout this whole process. This COVID-19 thing is nothing to play around with, and our kids understand that. So they have to continue to understand that they got to continue to wear the mask. It's not easy, but they have to be mentally tough. That's what we've been telling our kids the whole time. You have to be mentally tough, and they're doing that right now.
All right, that's Claude Mathis of DeSoto and Cedar Hills. Carlos Lynn, they played tonight, both 4-0. DeSoto's allowed 35 points in 4 games. They met last year, and Cedar Hill won on a 2-point conversion, 28-27. Geyer eventually knocked out, I believe it was DeSoto in the playoffs. They didn't go as deep as they normally do. All right, when we come back, Grayson Grunhaper, SicEm365 radio and SicEm365.com on the game. Baylor, Iowa State, recruiting, and much more. This is SicEm365 radio. IdealMRI.com, where they are inside the Central Texas marketplace, and their MRI machine can help you save thousands of dollars. Hundreds for sure, but sometimes even thousands of dollars. How? Their MRIs will cost you $497 or less. Some, in fact, the average MRI, you would normally spend $1,100, no matter where you go. But Dr. Rob Maxey and the staff at Ideal MRI have put a situation, put together, $497 or less every single time. And they have everything you would ever need. And one of the things that they have that you won't get elsewhere is that your time won't be wasted. It's easy to get set up. You go to idealmri.com to get an appointment. You could call them as well. And when you get there, there won't be this lingering, waiting, and wondering when in the world you'll ever get back to the MRI machine, because it will happen quickly. Their techs and specialists will go over everything with you. I went through that back in March, had an MRI on my left shoulder. They went through all of what I would deal with, and I've been in some MRI machines before, and at times, sometimes not as easy to get in one of those things. But this was a flawless, low-maintenance situation. And what was great about it, within a couple of, I'd say 3 to 5 hours later, I got a call from Dr. Maxey. He went over my MRI with me, and then he sent me what I could then give to my orthopedic surgeon, Dr. David Haynes at Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. They do that for you and everyone every time, $497 or less at idealmri.com.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation. Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, Bod Pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change, your change.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi. Great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco. House-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine. Best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to SicEm 365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Grayson Grundhafer of SicEm365.com. Brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
All right, back this 3 o'clock hour. Grayson Grundhafer, SicEm365.com with us on Fridays. Grayson has an article up in the premium section, the gray area, listing the candidates to be starting quarterback in 2021. He and Craig, of course, the Trust the Podcast. Bears hit the road to take on 17th ranked Iowa State. And Grayson also the week of November 2nd recruiting thread. Update, 2 decommitments. He had that story as well. We spoke with him about that, and we now are joined by Grayson Grundhafer, SicEm365.com. Grayson, did last weekend affect anything? I know Kyron Drones was in town. Did you hear any things that flared up when it comes to those who are committed to play at Baylor based on how they played against TCU?
Yeah, I did, but honestly, Smokey, it was all positive, really, and it was kind of surprising because, you know, Baylor losing the commitment of Randy Masters and losing the commitment of Hal Presley, it kind of felt like recruiting momentum was just going to start to go downhill. Maybe there's other guys that are thinking about decommitting. But Kyron was pretty happy, and he seemed like he was been in contact with a lot of the class, and they seemed very happy as well. Kyron liked what he saw out of the offense in the second half, thought that there were things that Charlie Brewer does that he feels like he could do as well. So he kind of got a glimpse into the future potentially. And this was only his second game at Baylor, so he was really excited to be there. And he just let me know that the guys that he's been talking to in the class, they're locked in. And he also told me that the Hal Presley thing wasn't really a surprise to him because Hal and he had kind of talked about it a little bit for the past 2 weeks, and he was trying to talk him off the edge a little bit, but Hal, of course, made the best decision for him.
Right now, Grayson, because of COVID and everything else, would games like Baylor had not affect recruits as much just because they kind of know what's going on, and they've, they're going to play for Coach Aranda. That's who they want to play for, and his sample size is not big enough yet.
Yeah, I think that's the overwhelming response that I have gotten from recruits, and that's that Baylor has had to deal with a lot of COVID. They're having to kind of revamp things because of the early obstacles that they had in the season. And so the thing that I keep hearing is that they expect Baylor to be better and better each week. And so I think that's a positive going forward. And I think recruits are kind of buying into that. And also, you have to remember, it's a bad thing that Baylor's losing, and it's a bad thing to see that every weekend. But on the flip side of that is, it means there could be opportunities to come in and impact right away, which appeals to a lot of recruits.
Grayson, I know you were at the Katie Tompkins game last night. Tompkins with the big upset, and I know you were pretty impressed by the atmosphere out there.
Oh, my goodness, Craig. That place was rocking. It was such an electric atmosphere. Obviously, Katie, since 2008, they have not lost a district game. 75 district wins in a row until last night. And Tompkins, the fans were in it from start to finish. The players, you could just tell every time they scored. You had those guys running over to their student section, getting the place riled up. It was so cool to see. Jalen Milroe, the Alabama commit at Katie Tompkins, he had a just absolutely amazing game. 211 yards, 3 touchdowns. He only had 5 incompletions on the night, but really it was his poise and demeanor that was the difference between the two teams. He was absolutely terrific, and nothing fazed him. Late in the game, he converted a 4th and 18 for a touchdown that really gave Tompkins the edge. And I got to tell y'all, the speed that Tompkins has, I don't think there's a lot of teams in the state that are going to want to play them in the playoffs.
Yeah, you're right. And Katie has run that district over many years. As you mentioned, I think it's 12 is what the stat that I saw. They had not lost a district game. And usually if you talk about poise down the stretch, not that they aren't good, they're really good, but it's always that Katie makes the play. Milroe, where is he when you look at all the quarterbacks you've seen, Grayson, over the years? Who do you compare him to, and how good is he? Obviously a blue chip star.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question, because I was kind of thinking to myself, trying to figure out who I compared him to, who he reminded me of, because he honestly isn't a guy that overwhelms you with his legs. Like I think people think, because he's got a 4.6 40 time. He's a guy that stands in the pocket and just delivers the football accurately and has a ton of poise. I really honestly struggled trying to give him a comparison just because of that. But I will tell you that watching him play and watching Kyron Drone's highlights, they were fairly similar to me. And I think what I saw last night is something that I'll see from Kyron when I go and see Shadow Creek play later this season. And it'll be interesting to compare them. But those two they just remind me of each other quite a bit. I think Kyron's a little bit bigger, and that's probably the main difference there. But I think those two are similar. And I know Alabama's recruiting him as an athlete, not necessarily just a quarterback. And so when I heard that, I was just thinking to myself, man, some of these other schools across the country need to try to just convince him to play quarterback, because I honestly do think he could be a pretty dang good quarterback at the next level. It's just going to be hard for him to find playing time at Alabama.
Grayson, to this week against Iowa State, Smokey asked the question at the beginning of the show. Craig had a very, very ornate answer. What does Baylor have to do to beat Iowa State?
Oh, man, this is such a great question, and I think it actually just comes down to a couple things. I think that Baylor has to hold Iowa State under 21 points. So that's the first thing, hold them under 21 points. And then the second thing is they cannot give up more than 3 sacks in this football game. Iowa State's currently averaging, I believe, I think they're right around 5 sacks a game, I think is the number something like that for the season. And so I think Baylor's just got to be able to keep Charlie Brewer or whoever the quarterback is upright in this football game. If they can do those things, I think they actually have a shot to win this game. I don't think Iowa State would just blow them out. Obviously, if you can keep them within that scoring range, I think they'll have some success.
Grayson, the early signing period is still on, right?
Yeah, it is, which is honestly, I think, a very controversial subject because with what has happened, the lack of visit, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But the issue is that the dead period's extended till January. So, I mean, you're not really getting a whole lot if you don't sign early. So you might as well just keep it because, I mean, I think we all pretty much are anticipating that it extends again and to where the other signing day period is covered as well by the dead period. So you're really not getting any visits in.
Yeah, I was curious about that because, I mean, here we are, it's November 6th, and there's been no recruiting going on across the country as far as the visits and all that because of the rules that have been put in place. But, I mean, shoot, man, you realize, you look up and it's like a month away from signing day. So I was just curious on if there had been any traction or any changes in the works, but I guess we're just going to go through with a no-visit recruiting season, which is pretty strange.
Yeah, it's really weird, and I think the thing you're going to see is more kids are going to just start going and trying to visit these games, just buy tickets themselves. I mean, kind of like Kyron did this past weekend. I think that's just what guys are going to have to do to go see the atmosphere and see the team play.
Yeah, it's almost like there's not even a buzz. Like if it's a month away or so, like Craig said, and it's like, okay. Well, I asked Kavion Gaither, who's not in the Baylor mix or whatever, but he's going to sign most likely with, I don't know, maybe a Southland Conference school or someone like that, and hopefully he'll get a few other offers, the quarterback at Conley. And he told me he was going to sign early. And that's someone who's not getting a lot of attention right now. So you wrap it up and you move in. Do you feel like that the classes will be more split for Baylor? Will they sign a chunk in December, or will they sign most of who they have? Do you think it'll be in February?
I think they're going to sign everyone that they currently have committed in December. I don't see anyone waiting. Also, they have quite a few early enrollees. I think they're up to like 6 or 7 early enrollees. So guys that are going to be moving in January, which also poses the question. So a guy like Kyron Drones, who I think Shadow Creek has a chance to make a run in the state playoffs. I mean, he might literally be playing his state championship game and then moving in like the next day to Baylor. Just a weird dynamic there, and a lot of players across the country are going to be dealing with that have really successful years this season. And, it's going to be so interesting to follow. I do think that they should go ahead and just make the February signing day the national signing day this year just because it's a weird year. But like I said, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. And honestly, I don't think that's a bad thing for Baylor because, if you get as many guys as you can signed, that's a good thing.
But what if they still can't visit come February?
Yeah, then that's the other question out there, Paul, because then it's like, what's the point? I mean, then why even have a February signing day? Why not just have the early one? Because nobody's going to get to visit anyways.
Yeah, it's all very strange. Grayson, has there been, I know the gray area is there for people to check out and get all the recruiting information and things like that, but has that picked up at all, or has it still kind of been calm from a Baylor staff perspective?
Yeah, it's pretty calm right now. You're starting to see 2022 offers go out. I know they offered Jeremy Patton out of Tenaha, and that was kind of their first 2022 offer in a long time. And so I think you're going to start to see more traction there. But as far as 2021 goes, I mean, it is as quiet as it could possibly be. We know the heavy targets, the Snow College, JUCO, Jordan Moko. He's kind of the guy to keep an eye on right now. But outside of him, I mean, it is as quiet as it could possibly be.
This spring's going to be nuts for like transfers and grad transfers, and it's going to be crazy.
What a mess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be probably the wildest summer we've seen. I mean, you're going to have guys going all over the place. The one-time transfer rule makes it really appealing for guys who don't like their current situation, even if it's not even, COVID related. Most of it's going to be depth chart related, honestly.
So do you think that plays into the idea of not trying to fill up the class? I mean, typically you wouldn't want to fill up the class because you want to let the high school season play out across the country and maybe, get in on some guys you weren't all that aware of. But do you think that the coaches are taking into account like how calamitous this spring could be with transfers and all that stuff that you kind of want to leave some spots open?
1,000%. I believe Baylor will be taking at least a transfer. I think they're going to take multiple transfers, though, kind of like they did this year, just because you might as well try to upgrade your roster. And I think Baylor could find a way to do that. I also think no one's immune to attrition this summer. So me saying that means that it would not shock me at all if Baylor had some attrition on the roster. I just think that that's going to be too common for me to say that I don't think Baylor will, be immune to that.
It's going to look like NBA free agency.
Oh, yay. Yay.
With no salary.
Yeah.
And so you're going to have your super teams, right? The super
well,
teams.
You do anyways. I mean, pretty much.
You have like 6 or 8 of them, yeah. You mentioned, and I know we got to go, and you do too, Jeremy Patton. He's a 6'2", 205 receiver. You mentioned Tenaha. You talking about deep East Texas Tenaha?
Yes, I am. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
They had a young man that was a part of their state championship run. It was about, I think it's been a while, 10 years ago or so. They had a kid go play at Texas Tech who was really good. And they had Chavis McAllister, who was a phenomenal player, but he ended up having to go JUCO. There have not been many players that have been able to come out of Tenaha, but there is some talent down in that area. There's no question about it. And that's 6'2", 205 in 2A football. That's and obviously very talented as well. Grayson, thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That's Grayson Grunhay for SicEm365.com. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, former Baylor cornerback KJ Morton. Earlier this week, we had Joe Williams. They came in together in 2011. Remember, and they opened up with that win against TCU, 50-48, when Goose, what's his name? The kicker. Stork, same thing. Kicked the field goal to beat TCU, and Mike Hicks had the pick. We had Mike on a week ago. Coming up next, KJ Morton. And what's he doing?
Goose.
Huh?
Goose. I'm sorry. Goose is Top Gun. Believe me, Stork and Goose don't travel in the same circles.
They're animals. They're animals. They live on the water, I think. That's next in the 4 o'clock hour. SicEm365 Radio. Hey, PettyClinicLowT.com. Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the high-performance man you want to be. How can he do that? Well, you got to call him. You have to also want to think, okay, what's going on with me? Is your energy down? Are you lethargic? Is there an issue with you when it comes to your sexual performance or drive, ED, or whatever it might be? PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com. Contact Dr. Kent Petty and his staff. They'll set you up to get your blood work. And then your blood work will be looked at by Dr. Petty. And if your testosterone levels are too low, he will put you in a program to increase your testosterone levels that need to be in the few hundred level rather than maybe they're down below 300 or so. It's simple. Go get your blood work. Tell him Smokey sent you. He'll get you discounted lab work. Look at your results. And then if you need testosterone boost, he can help you with that with the program to help you become the high-performance man you want to be. And oh, by the way, he does check for other things like cholesterol, PSA levels for prostate cancer, and much, much more. It's PettyClinicLowT.com. If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
MP Electric has developed a quality-oriented electrical contracting service in more than 20 years in the industry. Led by President Mark Perry, our electricians go through a 5-year apprenticeship program, are licensed by the state of Texas, and getting continuous education annually upon renewal. In great part, the success of MP Electric lies with its management and professional expertise of its employees. All of our employees share a dedication to quality and commitment to serving the needs of our customers. For new construction and remodels, parking lot, lighting and surge protection, landscape lights, security lights, troubleshooting and repairs. For industrial manufacturing, food and beverage, paper and publishing, heavy industry, cement and rock crushing plants, water distribution plants, and utilities. For 20 years, MP Electric has serviced industrial, commercial, and residential products. We do service right. MP Electric Inc. at 1890 Galaxy Road, Waco. MPElectricUSA.com.
Parsons Roofing has been serving Central Texas since 1948, and we can handle your commercial roofing needs from repair to re-roofing. And no one handles more school than Parsons Roofing. Parsons Roofing has been named Contractor of the Year for 14 consecutive years. Parsons Roofing, a name Central Texans have trusted for over 70 years. It's not just a roof, it's our reputation. You can contact us today for a free roof evaluation, including hail claims at 877-881-1733 or on the web at parsonsroofing.com.
How often have you said it's time to get in shape? Every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? How about starting today? I promise if you'll just join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness now, you'll thank me later. Hi, this is David Smoke, offering a variety of 40 group exercise classes every single week, including boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:15, plus spin, body shaping, Pilates, yoga, and bar. And oh, there's a free kids club as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday, 5 to 10, Friday 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday 7 to 7, and personal trainers Christy London and Randall Court. World-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa with lessons, camps, and special events. Spacious and clean workout rooms, locker room for men and women, both with a whirlpool and sauna, and now there's touchless bottle filling stations. No intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, an entirely new atmosphere, and yes, you can do this, but you have to walk through the front door. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Oh, what a play! KJ Morton, did he hold on? Yes, he did! Out of nowhere! That's an athlete, folks!
This segment on Baylor Athletics on SicEm365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
Now here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
All right, we'll hear from former Baylor cornerback K.J. Morton, who has played in the Canadian Football League and much more. We'll have him on here momentarily. If you think about it, last Friday we had Mike Hicks, who picked off the pass to seal the game against TCU. In that same game, former Baylor defensive coordinator Phil Bennett, who on with us on Mondays at 5 o'clock, said that Joe Williams and K.J. Morton, who got to campus very late that summer, both played like 90-plus snaps in that game in the heat of what was early September. And K.J. Morton and Joe Williams, yeah, there were times they struggled, but they also were very adept at picking off passes, as you would hope, and taking them back as well. And K.J. Morton, one of the great personalities of that early run that Baylor made to launch themselves back into contention to win a Big 12 title. And K.J. Morton joins us, Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke, and David Smoke. Always enjoy talking to you. We had Joe Williams on, K.J., a couple of days ago, Mike Hicks a week ago. when you hear those names, and then Phil Bennett, you duck. But when you hear those names, what comes to your mind at KJ Morton's mind? We got him?
Yeah, I got him.
Yeah.
Yeah, KJ.
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm sorry. When you hear Mike Hicks, Joe Williams, Phil Bennett, what are some things that come to your mind reminiscent about those teams?
Oh man, just great times, man, and kicking butt. Just putting everything together, and a lot of guys just coming together, bonding. That didn't know. Only thing we knew that nobody took Baylor serious, and when we got there, we had to change the atmosphere there, and we just bond and we made a brotherhood, and we won a lot of games, man.
What was that first couple of games like for you guys? Because we talked to Phil Bennett the other day, we talked to Joe the other day, and you and Joe were thrown directly into the fire.
Oh man, it was crazy. Just coming from a junior college and missing camp and missing everything, and getting there 2 weeks before the first game, and Coach Bennett was like, "You're going to be starting." I'm like, man, I don't even know the plays really. He was like, just go out there and do what you do, and that's ball. And Coach Bennett was like a father to me. He took me under his wing, and Joe Williams, Mike Hicks, Ahmad Dixon, man, like them guys accepted me like a brother, and man, we just went out there and put it all together.
What do you remember about your first conversations with Phil Bennett? And just, obviously he's got a crazy personality. Like, just getting to know him, what was that like?
Man, it was awesome. I'll never forget. One of my cousins just left from over in my house, and he was my roommate in junior college. And Coach Bennett and Coach Browse, they flew out to California, and they came to my apartment. And Coach Bennett came in, and he was like, "Hey, clean this mess up in here." And I was just like, golly, who this man is coming in here telling me to clean up already? And I'll just never forget, man. Coach Bennett and Coach Browse also flew to Atlanta, and they had to sit down with my mom and dad. And, Coach Bennett and Coach Browse, they, coming out of JUCO, I had a lot of offers. But Coach Bennett and Coach Browse really made it feel like home. So I didn't hesitate to pull the trigger. I turned down a lot of big schools, but I just knew that Baylor was on an up and up, and I just wanted to make the program better.
Did it make it even sweeter that you went to a place that was trying to get better? You know the story. They hadn't been to a bowl in a decade and a half, and in 2010 they were at a bowl game, lost to Illinois, and that you were there to be a part of it, a part of that team that launched them. RG3, 10-3, Heisman Trophy, and then the Big 12 title. How much more did that make with you write a story about your time at Baylor even sweeter?
Man, it was that much sweeter. Turning down those bigger schools, like I always said, I'm always a competitor, so I always just wanted to play against the best competition. And I knew when I took my official visit to Baylor that he had some great athletes. It was just a little something missing. And I was like, what if I'm that little something? So Coach Bennett and Coach Browse, man, they had the awesome game plan. RG3, who I still talk to daily, is like a big brother to me. And he was just like, man, come on and ball for us, man. We need guys in the secondary. And I was like, you know what, man, why not go be a part of something special? And that's what we did. We just, like I said, put it all together. We grind together and we shine together. And, man, those memories, man, I sit back and, sometimes I talk to Josh Wilson. I talk to a lot of guys, man, and we just reminisce. And, man, I miss it.
Who are the guys like? Do you have like a group text, anything like that you keep up with the most?
I wouldn't say a group text, but I will say I talk to every day, if not every other day. I talk to Xavier Howard every day. I talk to Corey Coleman. Those was like my little brothers. I actually took Xavier under my wing at first when he was at Baylor. He was playing receiver. And I told him he needed to convert to a corner because he's a prototype size corner. And so Coach Carson Buckles, put him at cornerback, and, man, he never looked back from there. I sometimes still talk to Terrence Williams, Kendall Wright. I talk to Robert. I talk to Joe. All of those guys. Rodney Cadwood, Gary Mason.
Man, I talk to all those guys, man, and it's super excited to see how far people have really went with their life. Some went pro, and like Gary and Rodney is coaching now. So Brody, Mike Hicks, man, I'm just proud of everybody.
Hey, it sounds like X might, I'm not saying owe you some money, but like a nice gift, given the fact that you led him to what was at the time the highest contract for that position in the history of the NFL.
Yeah, man, he's great, man, and I'm just so proud of him, man. He's so humble. He still have that hunger that he had when he first got drafted. I feel like he should have been a first-round pick coming out then, but that's just the way the cookie crumbled. And he's molding himself, man. He's a family man. He's providing for his kids, and I'm just so proud of him.
KJ, I know there were a lot of big games, and I'm sure the others will maybe ask you about a couple of them, but I want to go back to that Oklahoma game. Your senior season, that Thursday night, that was a crazy atmosphere at Floyd Casey with the blackout. You had the big hit on Sterling Shepard, where initially you were ejected and they overturned it. But what do you recall about the big hit? What do you recall about that game, and where does that kind of rank for you amongst your favorite moments at Baylor?
Man, that game was just, man, it was us against the odds. Going into that game, we were super prepared. Thanks to Coach Bennett and Coach Browse, like they put us in the best plays, the best formations, the best everything. And just, that era, the Ahmad Dixons, the Sam Halls, the Mike Hicks, everybody, we was just tired of being the little brothers, and we just knew that game was super important to us, and they was going to overlook us. They didn't give us the benefit of the doubt. They just thought that they was going to come in there and just, spank us. And we had another word for them, and I'll never forget, man, Sterling Shepard. He was talking. I seen him a couple of days, like a couple of months ago. He was with Corey Coleman, and he was like, man, that lick was still the hardest hit I ever been hit before in my life, and I'll never forget. He was talking so much trash before the game, what they was going to do to our secondary, and we didn't have no 5-star recruits, and I just took that with a grain of salt, and I'll never forget, man. I just seen him coming across the field, and I think it was third down. I knew we needed to stop, and he was coming across the field, and I really could have hit him harder than that, but I didn't want to take him out of the game. I just wanted to stop him.
It was 3rd and 7.
3rd and 7, yeah, it was. And Coach Bennett was like, he put us in the Bell formation. So I was just being a player, being a ball hawk, and just, man, really just making a play on the ball. And that wasn't my area. I was supposed to be covering deep, but I read the quarterback eyes, and I knew on 3rd down that was one of their favorite routes. So I just jumped in and made a great play, man. And I still get, people still send me that play to this day. It's so crazy, man. I got kids. I started coaching and stuff, and my kids like, you the guy that hit Sterling Shepard. and they be like, Coach Morton, if you put in the hardest football hit, you come up. And I'm like, man, yeah, you can do that too. It just was a great moment, man. Just was a great moment.
So in baseball, and you may know this or not, I don't know, but when you hit the ball and the bat in the sweet spot, it's like you don't even feel it, but that thing just flies. When you hit somebody like that, do you even feel it really, or is it just like such a perfect hit that it's just you hit it right in the sweet spot?
I felt it, but my adrenaline was pumping so hard, and only thing I remember that when I hit him, I just heard everybody say, "Ooh."
Yeah.
And like everything just got quiet after that. And then I just seen flags flying everywhere. I did have a stinger, but we both fell. And I just, my mom and dad would always tell me, you get knocked down, get back up. So I was just like, okay, let me get up. I'm all right. Let me get up. And then I didn't see he got up. So I was like, oh, man. So I said a little prayer for him. And, I'm glad that he's still playing. And,
Mm-hmm.
You almost killed him. I mean, I'm telling you.
Well, that's an all-time. It's like Taylor Young's hit on Baker Mayfield that you see in the. That'll be an all-time hit on Baylor reels. And that game, everybody talks about the Big 12 championship game later that year, closing out Floyd Casey. But that Oklahoma Thursday night game, that blackout was special. That's right up there in my opinion, at least.
It has to be, yeah, no question. KJ, what was it about playing Texas that kind of seemed to bring out the best in you with picks and touchdowns? And I mean, you just owned them.
Yeah, I had a thing with Texas. They was one of the schools that offered me coming out, and everybody just praised Texas, and I'm just like, they're not that good, they're really not that good. They had all the fancy equipment, they had everything that we didn't have, and that was sort of kind of like how I grew up. I wanted a lot of things, but I couldn't get it because my family couldn't afford it, so I had to work for it. So just playing against Texas, man, they was just overrated to me, and I wanted that to be known, no matter who was at quarterback, who was at wide receiver, who was at one running back, we were just going to play them super hard. And like I said, man, the guys that I had on my team at that time, we was all on the same page. Everybody was tired of hearing about Texas. Everybody was tired about hearing about Oklahoma. So it was time for us to make a stand. And that was what we did. And it was just like every game against Texas, man, I think I had 1 or 2 picks every game, every year.
Yeah, you did.
Like every year. So I took it upon myself that I was going to stand out in those big old games, really leave my mark.
We're talking to KJ Morton, former Baylor cornerback, with us, and he has not given up his dream of playing professional football. It's kind of been put on hold. You've, of course, been all over the place. KJ, where are you now? What are you waiting for now? And is it still the Canadian Football League?
Yes, sir. Well, this year we didn't have a year in Canada, so it's still on the up and up. I've been hearing a lot of feedback from the XFL. So right now, I'm waiting to see if the gate's going to open back up in Canada. But if that don't open, I'll be pursuing to play in the XFL.
It's nice to have some options, though, right? Like it seems as though there are more options now for players in your position than there were maybe even 5 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like they're coming out with so many leagues, but just like the allowance football league, and they had the XFL last year, and I mean, it was great. It got great views, and it's just hard for one of those new leagues to stick. It's hard for one of them to stick around. Like they had the allowance football league that folded, then the XFL folded last year. So it's like, man, it's like you get everybody ready, you get everybody hopes up, and then the league just folds. But Canada is the next to the NFL. I played in Montreal. My last year I was in Montreal, and it was beautiful. Montreal was super cool. The coaches was great. The fans was super excited for the Americans. Super excited. And yes, sir, I'm eager to get back over there and compete.
How much do you keep up with your alma mater? There was the change in regimes. Obviously, Coach Briles to Jim Grobe for the 1 year in 2016. Most of the staff stayed on, and then Matt Rule came in and turned Baylor into a hell of a defensive team. And now this year they're in transition again, and they're struggling right now. But what have you seen, or how often do you get a chance to watch them?
I watch them every now and then. I feel for them guys, because it's so much going on right now, with all the changes, with all the, it's hard for them to just start gelling. It takes time to build a program. And that's what, I salute Coach Briles on. He built the dominant program. He built the powerhouse program. And, after all of that stuff happened, man, it kind of hurt me, because I always wanted to go back and get to visit him because he deserved that, But I still watch him from time to time, and it's rough watching him, because I don't just blame them, You got to get to know the coaches and trust the coaches, and all that stuff don't just happen overnight, but I do know for sure that Baylor will get back on the right track.
Yeah, KJ, can you imagine, like, last year they obviously had the great season, 11 wins, and played for a Big 12 title, couldn't quite win it, got to the Sugar Bowl, couldn't quite win it, and then they had the coaching change, and then here's a first-year head coach who's never been a head coach before, but his first year at Baylor, and then no spring ball, like barely any fall practices. Like, can you even do that? Can you become a team without having all of the typical setup to a season, or is that just too difficult?
Yeah, that's too difficult. You know, the most teams that win the championships are teams that build chemistry. And that, like I say, that stuff don't just happen overnight. That's how the powerhouses are really built, from your freshman year to your senior year. You know, so if you just get in there and you're a senior and you get a new coach, you don't know this man from nothing, you know? So it's like, how can you take orders from somebody that you just met? And it's like, they wasn't there with you grinding in the summertime, bleeding with you, crying with you, you know? So it's like, yeah, that's just super difficult. I couldn't do it.
Anything else, Craig?
No, that's a great answer, too, and
Yeah,
gives us some
it
players'
is.
perspective. Because, KJ, one of the things we've been talking about is, you know, immediately people want to go, well, the coaching, and it's like, okay, well, it's the first-year staff and, you know, the players to an extent. But, man, this is just such a weird year that it's almost like you kind of have to give them a little bit of a pass just because it hasn't been normal. But, yeah, I think he put it really well.
Yeah, man. So I know that it'll get better, but you know, everything get better with time. And you know, look, like it sucks for the coach because you know if you're not winning, they don't give you time. They just bring in a new coach. So it's like, man, that's tough.
On your Twitter account, and it says, "Born to lose, built to win, can't stop God's plan."
Yes, sir. That's always been my motto. It felt like, you know, I wasn't very fortunate growing up, and that's what drives me though. You know, just beating the odds against all odds. You know, that's what Coach Bennett said. He loved them gritty players, man. He called me one of the gritty players, and it's just, you know, growing up where I grew up, you know, having to scrap for everything, you know, and just always having a plan. But at the end of the day, you can change how your family, you know, grows up. So that's what I'm doing right now for my son and my daughter. I'm just paving the way for them so they won't have to, you know, struggle like I did, and they'll have a way to go get an education. And you know, my way to make it out of poverty was to, you know, go play ball. That's what I can go do, and you know, I can go be as violent as I want to on the football field, and I can't go to jail. So it's like I can go out there and take out all my frustration. If I didn't eat today, I can go out there and just take it out on the field. And that'll be a way that I can get my family out of poverty.
Yeah, there you go. I got to share this with you. Phil Bennett. He sent me a text. He's in Hawaii, by the way. His son is on the staff at Hawaii. And he's there, of course, roughing it in Hawaii. He goes, "I'm still here and I will be for a while. Ask KJ about me wearing his ass out when he told me he thought his online teacher I found some small JUCO in Kansas would get him eligible was a racist." What was going on with that?
Oh, man, they was just giving me, excuse my French, they was giving me hell with the O-line. They was giving me hell with it. And Coach Bennett was like, "I don't want to hear F about nothing. You better get it done. Whatever you have to do, if you have to put your phone down." I'm telling you, Coach Bennett was like my father.
Yeah.
You know, he just chewed me out, and I'm just like, he was like, "Do you want to be something or you don't want to be anything?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I want to be something." So he was like, "Get it done." And, you know, man, I love Coach Bennett, man. I love him forever. And, you know, his wife, he used to always chew me out, and she used to be looking at me. She used to say, "Come give me a hug." And I just loved them, man. They was like a family away from a family. And man, Coach Bennett, man, I would have, even the Texas games, I would have 2 interceptions, and all I used to want was for him to say, "Great job." But he he was so hard on me, but he told me he had to be that way to push me to my full potential. And now looking back, I see why he did that, and I thank him so much for that.
I will share this with him. We'll send this copy of the interview to him. He goes, I'm surprised that KJ came to Baylor after all of that. He, Joe Williams, and Dimitri Goodson saved us. Love him. That's from Phil Bennett to you as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
KJ, thank you, man. Bennett. Appreciate you, and good luck with your endeavors wherever it might open up to you again down the road. We appreciate your time, and thanks for reminiscing and also staying in touch.
Thank you so much.
All right, that's KJ Morton. What a great story with him and where he's from and where he is now trying to get back in the league as well. When we come back, Lee Sterling, ParamountSports.com on Vegas in the NFL and college football. This is SicEm365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. They have got a bunch of great deals waiting for you right now. They had the big kickoff savings event, and that went really well. And now they're continuing on with giving you more sales deals, because now it's the holiday sales event going on at Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. The most wonderful time of the year to save big on all remaining 2020 vehicles in stock and the incoming 2021 GMC Sierras. The Sierra is a truck with it all. Power, first-class seating, unbeatable technology. It's the best truck on the road, and during Richard Carr's holiday savings event, qualified buyers can unwrap $8,000 off a 2021 GMC Sierra Texas Edition Crew Cab at Richard Carr. Maybe you're looking for a top-of-the-line midsize SUV. Well, Richard Carr is offering $7,000 off GMC Terrain or $7,500 off of Buick Envisions. You can test drive both today and save big today at Richard Carr. They've also got compact SUV with loads of space and style. I'm talking about the 2020 Buick Encore right now. You can nab that for only $18,950. That's over $5,000 in savings on the top-selling Buick Encore. At Richard Carr, they love their healthcare workers, military, and first responders. Right now, all of those valuable community heroes can get GM supplier pricing on all cars in stock. And also, for every car and truck sold right now and moving forward, Richard Carr will donate a new bike to Toys for Tots Waco. So get yourself a great deal on a new car and give a deserving kid a bike this Christmas. It's the holiday sales event at Richard Carr. Get there now. Go to richardcarr.com or have them bring the test drive to you. Save big at the holiday sales event at Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Looking for quality plants at great prices? Barrera's Nursery and Landscape Company at 201 Sun Valley Drive in Hewitt is the place for seasonal plants, shrubs, trees, and perennials, as well as bulk material of landscape rock. Barrera's Nursery and Landscape has been locally owned and operated for 22 years. Give us a call at 666-9806. That's 666-9806 for all your landscaping needs. Barrera's Nursery and Landscape Company. Open Monday through Saturday, 8 until 5:30 on Sun Valley Drive in Hewitt.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Cap, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The SicEm365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
Lee Sterling, ParamountSports.com on Fridays. Cowboys, by the way, they still haven't yet named the quarterback, whether it's Garrett Gilbert or Cooper Rush, but also Mike McCarthy saying he will not alternate quarterbacks on Sunday. Whoever they start, they'll go with him.
Well, after the first one gets murdered, he's not going to have much of a choice.
Ezekiel Elliott had some hamstring injury flare up. They had kind of nursed him along. And depend maybe on pregame warm-ups of whether or not he's 100%. He's had no 100-yard games rushing this season. Joined by Lee Sterling, ParamountSports.com. Again, Lee, every Friday around this time to let us know what Vegas and what he thinks of games in the NFL and college. And we start with a great one in the SEC, Georgia and Florida. Lee, thanks for your time today.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is an interesting game because 3 weeks ago, I would honestly tell you I think Georgia was the best team in the country, even with Stetson Bennett at quarterback. But some things change, and I think that Alabama just – they took away, all that mojo that they had, and they're not the same team now. And then all of a sudden they play last week, and they lose 3 starters on defense in that game alone, including their star safety, Richard LeCounte. So it is a tough spot for Georgia. Everything went right in the game last year. Every third down. They converted almost 80% of their third down conversions. If that doesn't happen, the story of the day was Kyle Trask. He was 21 for 33 and 2 touchdowns and 257 yards. I love his receivers. I love the tight end. They have this kid named Kyle Pitts. I think he goes top 15 in the draft. Their slot receiver, kid named Kadarius Toney. Watch him, number 1. He is scary good. Wrong team's favorite, Florida, 27-23.
Yeah, this is the only year in my life I'm happy that Florida State's not playing the Gators. I'm very happy about that. Lee, Clemson and Notre Dame. Clemson's a 5-point favorite in this one. I was at the Cotton Bowl a couple years ago when Clemson kind of took them apart late in that game.
Yeah, and here's the situation here. Even though Notre Dame doesn't have to face what might be the best quarterback in the country, they got to face a backup. This kid DJ is not bad at all. I mean, he's the number 1 quarterback coming out of high school last year. And I think by playing in the game last week where not only played the whole game, they were down 28-13 and he brought them back. I think that type of experience will help him. Notre Dame's receivers are getting no separation at all. And by losing Claypool, losing Kmet, the tight end, they're just not the same team. Watching him, Buck, he just doesn't have the same swag to him. And Clemson's defense, normal defenses, they get 4 to 5 tackles for loss per game. Good defense, 6 to 7. They're averaging 9.3 tackles for loss per game. Clemson wins this game and covers 28-20.
Lee, Texas coming off the big win over Oklahoma State. West Virginia, nice win as well. And Longhorns, Mountaineers in Morgantown. What do you think?
So it took a 4-over turnover advantage and a kickoff return for a touchdown for Texas to beat Oklahoma State in overtime. So Texas, they only had 287 yards in that game. Somehow they scored 41 points. And I think West Virginia is under the radar. Their defense, number 4 in the country. Offense exploded versus the normal stingy Kansas State defense here. Visitors 4-0 in the series here. I like West Virginia. I'd bet them with the spread and also money line play here. I like West Virginia 33-31.
That'll be interesting because Texas back home, where sometimes they don't play their best. And that West Virginia loss for Baylor is what kind of set them off in this 3-game stretch because that was such a winnable game for them. And you never know where they would be if they would have found a way to win in Morgantown. Speaking of Baylor, they're on the road. This is going to be tough, Lee, in Ames against Iowa State.
Yeah, Baylor offense only really has looked good when playing Texas and TCU when they were way down. The defenses were playing way off. Their offense only averaging 4.4 yards per play, which, you get this, is the same as Vanderbilt. Yikes. Bryce Hall, I mean, watch him. This guy is a stud. This kid's second leading rusher in college football, come out of nowhere, 901 yards. I don't think we've seen the best of Brock Purdy, which is scary. And I think Iowa State's going to be up for this game because they lost last year 23-21. I like Iowa State 38-20.
Lee, Tampa Bay and New Orleans. Tom Brady looking to get some revenge for that opening week loss.
Yeah, the public's going to be all over Tampa Bay. Why? Because they lost opening week. Everyone remembers Tom Brady. He throws the pick six. They figure, the revenge game. That's the public. But I think New Orleans might be the right side. They found a way to win each of the last 4 games, 2 of them in overtime. Drew Brees, I know he didn't practice the last couple of days, but expect him to play. He's completing 73% of his passes. Alvin Kamara, he's only caught 25 passes the last 3 games coming out of the backfield. And the defense has stepped up. 5 sacks of Nick Foles last week. Now, people think of the Bucs as having this incredible offense. They may end up being the best offense in the NFC, but not yet. They're 20th in yards per pass attempt, 19th in yards per carry rushing the football. I respect Bruce Arians, but I just think that the Saints, which are actually better on the road, 6 of the last 7 as a road dog, I think they get it done. They pull the upset 34-31.
Your game of the week, Oklahoma State. We just talked about them needing a bounce-back win, and Kansas State also in search of bouncing back a bit.
Yeah, it should be a competitive game. They want to get that game for free, 800-400-9741. They can get it for free. As you know, guys, I rate my games from 10 to 50 units. We changed to that rating system about 13 years ago. We're 49-15-1 on these games. So they want to hop on board. Once in a while, every 4 or 5 weeks, we'll have a 40 to 50 unit play for the first time ever. I've had one time where I had a 40 and a 50 unit in college and pro one weekend. Never in one day. I have a 40 and a 50 unit play on Saturday. You want to hop on board? We won 8 out of 9 weeks this year. Now's the time. ParamountSports.com. You can purchase the game individually. You can come on board for the weekend. We also do UFC. We won 23 out of 29 matches that they've had in the UFC, and we have a 50-unit selection there where we've gone 13-2 on those selections since they came back in May. So everything's up and available. ParamountSports.com or 800-400-9741.
All right, Lee, as always, thank you, sir. Lee Sterling, ParamountSports.com, as he mentioned, 800-400-9741. I didn't even realize much about Breece Hall, the young man from Iowa State, 6'1", 215. I knew about him. But he chose Iowa State over Baylor, Iowa, K-State, Michigan, Nebraska, and Tennessee.
Yeah, he's not some unknown guy. He's very much a known guy, and you should have. I'm not saying you in particular, but we got plenty of evidence last year on Breece Hall and how good he was. I mean, he exploded last year, really. So him carrying it over is not much of a surprise. And yeah, I mean, if Baylor is going to play the way they played the first half against TCU defensively, then there's going to be a lot of broken tackles, a lot of Baylor defensive bodies lying on the ground in his dust because Iowa State's going to be physical. And that, again, was the most alarming thing to me. I didn't expect the offense to be great because, I mean, why would you at this point? And I'm not being overly negative. It's just, why would you? Why would you expect the offense to have some great performance? But what I was surprised by was a staple of this program over the last 3 seasons, no matter if they were 1-11 or, what were they, 13-2 last year?
11-3.
11-3 last year. Regardless, one thing that was consistent was the physicality, and I didn't see physicality last week, and that was concerning to me. And that could be all the interruptions, and J.J. Joe in his piece, which was a good read, was given a different perspective on kind of what the team has been dealt with all these COVID interruptions, and even got so much into a player coming back from quarantine. He's already lost a bunch of weight, so now he's going out there to play, and he's like 15 pounds lighter than he was when he was his normal playing weight. And so that will hinder your physicality a bit as well. But, we can't account for all of these different things all the time. All I know is I saw the team last week against TCU getting beat up and bullied a bit, especially in those first couple of quarters. So that's going to need to change against Iowa State, or it's going to be, again, a very long day.
Hall, by the way, is the cousin of former Nebraska All-American and NFL star, maybe a Hall of Fame type career in Roger Craig.
Yeah, Roger Craig's one of those weird, I can't figure out why he's not.
And if he's not, why should he be
He
later?
was a part of their, I mean? Yeah, I know. If he wasn't when he was 5 years out, then why would he? It's part of that veterans thing. That's one of those they need to, they made him up. They're making him up. They made him up they were supposed to this year, and they moved it back to next year. Roger Craig's one of those. And he was on championship teams, too. He was a major part of what they did.
He had 1,000 yards rushing and receiving in the same year.
Yeah.
So
there's that. And then also a couple of notes, quick baseball. A couple of notes on Baylor. The volleyball team was up 2-0 and looking incredibly impressive at Austin against top-ranked Texas. Baylor's number 3, Final Four team a year ago, and they just ran out of gas. 23-25. They had an opportunity to close it out in the third set. Then they lost 25-13, 15-9, and they have to turn around and play tonight. That's like losing a Game 6 in a playoff series and having to play the next day Game 7. If you win tonight, then it looks great. If you don't, you got to wonder where they are. Texas hasn't lost. Baylor now 11-2, and had UT dead to rights at Austin, but they didn't quite finish it off. And then also tonight at 5 o'clock, it's about to start Baylor and Oklahoma soccer at Betty Lou Mays Field as well. A couple of baseball notes, only because Paul asked me to bring this up. Alex Cora, hired back by the Red Sox, and you and I talked about this in the break. The only reason they did this now was they waited for A.J. Hinch to get hired, which he was, which then said, okay, wait a minute, if he can get hired, what about us? This also means baseball, and we got to, the Astros cheated, whatever you want to say. If baseball doesn't care, why should we?
Well, yeah, and look, we're in a world right now where, depending on what side you're on in any kind of debate, you can use whataboutism to excuse away it, and so I try not to use it in most of my life, but as a Red Sox fan, I'm going to say, well, what about everything else?
Because if Urban Meyer was hired by Florida State, you would absolutely love it.
I would have to go to confession.
You would love it.
I would have to go to confession every week and talk about it, but if they're winning, again, it's just how it is. And none of the players got suspended. A.J. Hinch and Alex Cora they served their time. So they're eligible to be hired. I'm not nuts about the Red Sox doing it just from an optics thing, but he's a fantastic manager. So
optics? What are optics?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, other than that, people will forget eventually.
People get hired again. We appreciate the time. Thanks to Lee Sterling. Coming up next is Temple Scott Stewart as they play tonight against Ellison, who's at 1-5, and there's something going on with Ellison. They're 1-5 and slipping away. Last night, it was a nice win, by the way. Shoemaker beat Bryan. We mentioned that 42-30. Also, we'll hear from, finally, Riker's going to play a game. They had yet another cancellation with T.K. Gorman out of Tyler. They're going to play Brazos Christian on the road tonight. We'll have that, plus a conversation with Dave Aranda, again, at 5 o'clock. This is SicEm 365 Radio. Waco Custom Marketplace, where you can get your tailgate food. In fact, I was there today. I talked to Brian Bauer. I went by and I got some customized bone-in ribeyes. They are very thick, maybe 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches thick. I love it that way. Got some bone-in ribeyes, picked up some bacon-wrapped fillets, and on top of that, some hamburger meat, some shrimp, and also a little bit more inside the store. You can get seasonings and spices, what you want, and sauce, barbecue sauce. You could have seafood, pork, poultry, and beef. Whatever you want, they have it with their butcher shop. And then in the bakery, fresh baked bread, fresh baked kolaches every morning, donuts, and if you want something special, a cake or some kind of pie, they can do that as well. Cold beer and wine when you walk into the door to the right, and up and down the aisles. You can have anything from boxed dinners to pasta to canned goods as well. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive. Look online as well at wacocustommarketplace.com.
Have you tried a do-it-yourself program to lose weight? You may not know that in a typical do-it-yourself program, a quarter of the weight you lose is due to muscle breakdown and loss. With COVID harming obese and overweight patients, being at ideal body weight is more important now than ever. Over 30 physicians in Central Texas, tired of seeing patients fail at losing weight themselves, opened MuscleWise Nutrition. This is a coach-managed weight loss program that targets fat and spares muscle. The 4 MuscleWise locations have taken off over 19,000 pounds from Texas dieters in the last few years. The combination of coaching and weekly body composition analysis to target the fat loss are the keys to success. The coaches teach you how to eat and live a healthy lifestyle. Email SicEm365 at musclewisenutrition.com today, and the coaches will contact you about their free educational seminars. Do not wait. Email today and start MuscleWise at SicEm365 at musclewisenutrition.com.
Mazzana Construction is celebrating 52 years as an award-winning, family-owned and operated business excelling in general construction and construction management. Mazzana Construction is proud to support Connolly ISD's tradition of excellence in education and athletics, including owners calling Connolly High their alma mater, Vicky Mazzana, class of 1974, and Aaron Miner from the class of 2002. Mazzana Construction, celebrating 50-plus years by building trust with quality work. MazzanaConstruction.com.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jeweler, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store.
With a proven performance reputation spanning 85 years, Sturda Steel operates with one sole purpose, producing the highest quality seating solutions with the best and most efficient processes in the industry. With engineered, fabricated, and installed grandstands and bleachers all across North America. Whether seating 50 to 50,000, the skill and versatility of our workmen are evident in the quality and precision work detailed on every bleacher and grandstand project. Sturda Steel, family owned and operated since 1934 at sturdasteel.com.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Hey guys, Scott Stewart here, head football coach of the Fighting Wildcats from Temple High School in Temple by God, Texas, and you're listening to SicEm365 Radio with David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
This segment with Temple Wildcats football coach Scott Stewart is sponsored by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Southwest Sports Medicine.
Coach, a win over a good Harker Heights team, 38-36, in what was kind of a playoff-level matchup and that kind of a game, and you had to fight back in this game. What did you learn about your team on Thursday night?
Well, I mean, first of all, hats off to Harker Heights. I mean, they had a good plan, and they've got some unbelievably talented kids. They've got some really good coaches. You know, what I learned about is that these kids don't blink. I mean, we decided in our charity mode that we were going to give up 20 points in the first quarter, and we're sitting there looking at a 20-0 deficit, and it's just like, guys, at some point we just got to start doing what we do. And the whole cliche of how to eat an elephant one bite at a time. And so we just started grinding, and that's all we can do. I've told these kids from Jump Street, I don't care about the scoreboard. Most of the time, the scoreboard will take care of itself, but I don't care about the scoreboard. So we're not going to look at the scoreboard as a determining factor of how hard we got to try or what we got to do or how bad we got to press. We're going to go out there, and we need to go out there and just do what we do and let it end like it ends. But, I mean, if we walk out of here with the L because we don't play Wildcat football, then that's shame on us. If we made some bad mistakes and did some bonehead stuff early and we can't claw our way out, I can live with that. But I just want to see some good football, and let's just go back to basics and block and tackle and throw and catch. And, those kids, our kids don't panic. And so, it's nice to have that. I prefer not to be in those situations, but it's nice to know that because that happens in life. It's nice to know these kids ain't going to panic and freak out.
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask. Are you knowing like down the stretch, because there's probably going to be a game that's going to be similar where you might fall behind, and your kids now have the mental fortitude to not look at it as, oh, here we go. Right.
I mean, just fight. Again, I've never. You can ask any kid that's ever played for me, how many games do I ask you to win? And the answer is 0, because if you put all the emphasis on that, at some point they're not going to win, and then you just devalue them as a young man. And so, you know what? Go out there and do things right. Do it with every fiber of your being. Do it as hard as you can, as fast as you can, and the wins and losses will come. They'll be what they are. But at least, you don't have to score more points, or if we don't score more points or we give up too many points and you did all those things, there ain't nobody in the world going to have a problem. Just go out there and fight. If we're not playing that level of football, there's going to, the expectation is we do. So, I try not to focus on the scoreboard and just focus on the quality of the ball we put on the field.
You've got Ellison this week, a team that's 1-5, but that record probably doesn't indicate what the games they've played. I mean, they've lost by 4 points to Shoemaker, 1 point to Harker Heights, and a touchdown to Killeen. So they play close games. This is not a team that is languishing in last place.
No, not at all. And I'm going to tell you what, my phrase of the week is rinse and repeat, because you turn on Harker Heights, you turn on Ellison, you see kind of the same beast. I mean, they are unbelievably athletic. They've got great team speed. They've got big kids. I don't know what's in the water over Killeen, but they're like you said, Harker Heights may be one of the most talented teams we played this year, and Ellison is right up there with them. I mean, their skill position is absolutely unbelievable. They've got big offensive and defensive lines, and so they're scary, and they can score a lot of points fast, and they play good defense. And like you said, they've lost by 5 total points to probably 2 of the best teams in our district. So, this is like the SEC, of the high school. I mean, there's no off weeks. I mean, you're going to have to play good people week in and week out. And, right now they haven't found a way to kind of finish that. And I'm hoping they can wait another week.
Hi, this is Tyler Holcomb, Athletic Director and Head Football Coach at Bishop Lewis Riker, and you're listening to SicEm365 Radio with David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
This segment with Riker Catholic Cougars football coach Tyler Holcomb is sponsored by Riker Athletic Booster Club, Boozer's Jewelers, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Southwest Sports Medicine.
Well, Coach, it's been a really weird, strange last couple of weeks for you, and you find out, a couple days ago, TK Gorman's got a COVID outbreak, so you don't have a game. It would have been your 3rd week in a row not being able to play, and everybody in TAPS is going to the playoffs. You've got to get your kids some reps, so you pull out another miracle and Brazos Christian that you have tonight on the road. How do you prepare for a game in 24 hours? This is not normal. This is not something you'll probably ever have to really do again in your football career, but you have 24 hours to get a team ready for a game. You don't really even get to practice because you have a JV game on Thursday night.
So, that's what they keep telling me, that, this is we're not going to have to do this ever again in our career. And it seems like week in and week out, we keep doing it. So weird is kind of what we do, man. We're just going to roll with the punches. In this during this pandemic, we just got to be thankful for anything we can get, and we're thankful for the opportunity to get to play Brazos Christian tonight. And we're going to go, and it's going to be kind of like a JV type situation where you don't really know a whole lot about your opponent. You're going to go and have to make adjustments on the fly, and I guess these are the type of games to find out what type of coach you are.
Well, and it's going to be good for the kids, one, just to get to play a game finally, and two, they're going to have to think for themselves a little bit on the fly, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. Brazos Christian's a very good football team. They played a really tough schedule. They played Central Texas Christian, Shiner St. Paul, Rose Hill Christian, so they played some good football teams. And so we're going to have to come ready to play. And there's going to be some things with us not being able to play the last couple of weeks. There's going to be some things that aren't going to go our way. We're probably going to make some mistakes. We're going to have, kind of revert back to early on in the season a little bit, but we have to be able to overcome that adversity and find a way to come up with a win.
How important is it to just get reps with the playoffs, literally coming around the bend?
Huge. Because, we, like you said, we haven't got to play a whole lot of football recently. So we're a little rusty. We've had to change the way we practice just to try to give ourselves the best chance in case we have a kid that gets it. We're taking some new approaches in our practices, kind of going 3 linemen out of top center and tackles, running the play, then bringing the guards in, running the play. So we always have 6 feet apart so that we can, if anything happens, we're able to protect ourselves a little bit and kind of control our destiny so our whole team doesn't get quarantined. So we're trying to take measures so that we can complete the season and get the thing we could be, which is in the state championship if we take care of our business. But it's definitely been a weird year.
Dodge Performance from Allen Samuels. Dodge, ranked highest in initial quality according to J.D. Power. Get remarkable Dodge incentives like up to $5,170 in values on new 2020 Charger SXTs, America's most affordable third-row SUV. Dodge Journey has employee pricing for all, and both Charger and Journey have no payments for 90 days. The Black Friday sales event, now at your friend in the car business, Allen Samuels.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to SicEm365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Let's face it, some people just like driving around in the nude. Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters to talk about those truck owners that know they have naked trucks but simply don't care. You'll hear them saying something like, I'm just driving around free and easy, nothing constricting me. Gross. But there is something that can entice almost any naked truck owner. Leather. I mean, they kind of go together, right? And Pickup Outfitters is an authorized dealer and professional installer of cat skin leather seats. So I'm asking you to do your part and help us end truck nudity. The next time you're near your naked truck owner friend, you can say something like, you know what would really be sexy on your truck? Leather. And they'll get that sly smile, and you know you've hit them in their weak spot. Pickup Outfitters installs factory matching leather kits or custom kits in just about any color combination for your truck or even car. It's the sexy thing to do. You can be part of the problem, or you can create a commotion with cat skin leather seats at Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Welcome back to SicEm365.
5 o'clock hour, sponsored by Edward Jones Investments. With financial.
Walking into the end zone is Josh Fleeks with the touchdown.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on SicEm365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
Now here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Football coach Dave Aranda with me on SicEm365 Radio. You mentioned something about Sundays, and it's kind of like you find out the truth. What did you find out yesterday about your team based on Saturday, what they had to tell you, and vice versa?
You know, there's a great need and a great appreciation for accountability. And I know personally, and then with our staff, and most importantly with our players and with our team. And so that was number one, you know. So to tell the truth, Sunday is like to get past the emotion and the hurt and the frustration and you know, all of it, and get to like what the truth is, why it's this way, right? How did this happen? And then get to how this can be prevented and what steps we have to do to fix it. And so I think, like, in taking that approach, right, starting the game faster, you know, is definitely something that was talked about. I think I look upon myself like that's something I have to do better in terms of creating energy in the locker room and really managing time on the grass prior to the game. I feel like I can do a better job there. You know, we looked at, you know, just in terms of the twists and stunts and the pickups that come, just simplifying there. It's another area that I take accountability for. I think those, you know, how we frame that and how we approach, you know, moving fronts and boxes so that we can play our most aggressive, I think is critical, just with just how, you know, our makeup and who we are. And then, you know, third, I would say, like, the defensively, the ability to when our lead calls are struggling for whatever reason, to have a home base to go to and to have that be known and clear, so that everyone knows that, hey, if we're not hitting with this pressure or we're not getting with this stunt, our home base is this, and we're coming right back to this call, and this is where we'll get it figured out and get right and get back on track. I think those three things are big takeaways. There's various other things there, but I think it kind of starts with those.
Did you apologize to the team in the post game? And whether you did or not, what did it mean to you when Treston Ebner stood up or said, "Wait a minute, Coach, we are the ones that need to apologize to you"?
Well, I think accountability is big. I think the ownership, when you're able to take ownership, you're able to see your part, the role that you play in the big picture. And a lot of times, you're working on little details, so there's a little conversation or there's a little decision, and then it builds to bigger things. And so there's always ownership in there, and so I think, as you know, kind of, the heartbeat of your team, and the characteristics of your staff and your team, you're able to learn and apply better methods, better ideas, and I feel like this was one of them. But it means a lot that that Eb and just the rest of the guys, they're owning it. And so many guys that are all the way in, and so I definitely appreciate that, and it gives me a lot of incentive to get out there, today, for example, and do it better.
Does the fact that it was Ebner, after the week that he had and you had and the team had, does that make it even more special? It does. I think you just look at the performance that he had, and just you don't have that type of the performance is probably not even the right word, just the effort that he had. You don't have that type of effort without a real strong care factor for thinking of people others other than yourself, and so it means a lot. Dave, the quarterback situation, I know you get peppered with questions about Charlie, and I've asked him, others have asked him about his productivity, the offense, the way you can try, if you can, stretch the field, how much time he has, is he making throws? Obviously, you have tremendous belief in him, and so does, I believe, the staff. What does it say, though, about those behind him when he has struggled? Where are Bohannon and Zeno and Chapin as far as their progression if you need them?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So, Gary has progressed from the time that I got here. I think like his confidence in the pocket has grown. I think his decision making is continued to improve. I think there's still improvement being made. I think Gary's got a great leadership quality about him. There's an alpha in him where he's in a situation, man, he wants to own it completely. He wants to take it, and the guys recognize that, the team does, and when he's in there is an energy. And then with Zeno, there's a calmness about him. There's kind of a coolness, right? When stuff's kind of going, when bombs are kind of going off left and right, there's a ability to decipher kind of what's what in the pocket and get throws off that I think are kind of unique to him. And so there's improvement that all those guys have had, and they get reps throughout the week, and I'm impressed with just their heart and their mindset, because I know it can be difficult for them, and so losing really doesn't really benefit. Doesn't benefit any of us, and so I think their ability to stay the course and work that process that we got for him, I definitely appreciate.
Do you feel like Charlie? This is all he's ever done is win. Now he had to go through the 1-11, But are you concerned about where he is? Is it more mental or physical with him right now?
I have talked to him about that, just about the this stretch here that we've been on, and just about how that affects people and just mindsets and all of it. And I'm appreciative of him when he allows himself to kind of pour into me and let me know what he's thinking. And so I think he's just such a strong competitor that when we don't have success, when we don't do well, it hurts him. And so I think he wants to have success, and he wants to get the offense going. And I think the challenge is to not go outside of it, outside of what's being asked or outside of what's in front of him, and to kind of trust what we've got for him, trust his teammates, and let's kind of move forward as a team. Sometimes that's hard to do when there's bombs going off to your left and right.
You continued to shuffle quite a bit your offensive line, and obviously that's been a challenge because of COVID, because of injuries, because of everything else, even a suspension. It seemed like you shuffled them quite a bit. Maybe I'm wrong, but against TCU, do you know who your 5 best offensive linemen are right now?
Yeah, I think we were in a mode there where we had J-Mo at center, and we had X at guard, and we have Burton at guard, and I think that's the heart of it. That's where I think when we had the most success was that. I think there's a great grittiness that can take place there. I think there's glimpses of it. We need to see more of it, but I think that's kind of probably the start. We'd like to be certainly further along than what we are, and so but I feel like that's the group right there. Those 3 in the interior, and you got like Mose there, you got Kimball, and you got some other guys that can help and come in, and you certainly feel comfortable with. But I think those interior 3 have shown the most.
You mentioned earlier about you needing to and I don't want to misquote you, but finding a way to bring more energy to the locker room or the field or whatever. You are who you are. We've talked about this with Tony Dungy and what he said to you. Don't be someone you're not. And then eventually someone would say, yeah, they're taking on the personality of their coach, and you're quiet and you're not a yeller and screamer, but inside your fire burns. Is this right now a challenge for you?
No, I look back at this past week, and like the practices that we had were very energetic. I think this past Tuesday was maybe the best Tuesday that I've ever had, and I've heard that from a few other people, coaches as well. I think right when we broke off that Tuesday practice, I remember Terrell coming at me. He goes, "I've never had a practice like that," and so I think. When you're, when you're somebody that's like me, I guess you find different ways the energy is still energy. You need it, regardless of whether you're an animated person or not. When you're not, I feel you just find different ways to get to that same spot. You need it. And so I think we were able to do that throughout the week. And I thought through the game we were able to do that. I thought, guys would be, I talked to Terrell about this, is coming off the sideline off of, a field goal block or a PAT block and all this stuff. And there can be some true, hey, what about this and why is that? And all of those, there's certainly those questions are normal during that specific slice of time, but there wasn't really any of that. I didn't feel it, and to be honest, I wasn't going to allow it. Just with the energy we were trying to give on the sideline, and I felt like that fire never went out. And so when we're able to get some stuff going on O and on teams, we turned it up some. And so I think there's been energy there. We just I got to do a better job at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, because it seemed like, I didn't know, and sometimes I've heard coaches say this, that you had that practice Tuesday, Wednesday, and you almost like peaked early, or you played the game in the middle of the week. Is that something that also can happen?
Well, the practices are short, so I think like the thought with how we're going is to not go for very long, but to make it game-like and to play, to get good versus good, to get speed versus speed, and to get try to get best versus best. And so there's a lot of times where we go ones versus twos and twos versus ones. Our twos are getting the reps of or the ones are getting reps versus twos that have started games for us, have played in games. And so they're, when it's a reach block, it's game day, and I feel like that's the best way to go about it. The opposite view would be, scout teams and kind of walkthroughs, and there's just, the look's not the same. I guess the physicality is not the same, and the energy is provided is not the same. So I think when you're going as hard and as energetic as we are, you want to get your work in and get out. And so I think ours has always been, let's make it game-like. Let's do our work, get in, get out, as opposed to the longer practices that are more kind of a walk and talk and that. And so we've had success with it this way, and I feel like our guys are liking it. I think it's really just a matter of I have to talk more about starting fast, and I've got to be more involved in that piece.
Dave, philosophically, you have been in this business a long, long time. This is your first opportunity as a head coach. How much are you learning every day? And how much of this are you having to also, considering the conditions you've been dealt with, learning every day and trying to grasp it all, the big picture, along with what is every single day, every single moment?
No, I appreciate the question. I feel that, when there is losing or when there's pressure, it creates abnormal behavior in people. I think that's just, I don't know. I've always felt that. I feel like that's a fact. And so I think the ability for us to stay together, to coaching staff, players, team, stay together, I told them yesterday I've got every one of them's back, and what can I do to help them, and here's our path moving forward, right? Let's own this, right? Let's get better with it with every day that we've got this week. And I think when you have the ability to be with a bunch of guys that are all on the same page, all working for the same goal, and all kind of selling out to get that accomplished, you can create some momentum pretty quick. And I feel like, yesterday was good. We're practicing today because of that our NCAA rule with Tuesday being an off day. And so we're right back at it. And I feel like we'll attack this one.
Last question. You haven't had a chance to very much meet many of the players' parents, families, because of the off season. We'd have camps, or you'd have this, or you'd have that. How much, no matter if you're a first-year head coach and staff or not, how much have you missed that, and how much do you think that maybe the parents have missed it as well?
No, I think it's big. I think I miss that, and I know that they do too. I know that I'd have to imagine from their perspective, there's got to be what's going on, I'm sure. And so I think, we were talking about having we've had a few Zoom meetings with them, and we're talking about having another one this week. And so I think it's important for that connection. And I think it's important to, just for me, I'm always going to do everything I can to be as transparent as I can, and to be as real as I can. And so and I don't plan on hiding anything. And so I think that relationship and the ability to talk that way, I think is, especially in difficult times, is really important.
Baylor football coach Dave Aranda on SicEm365 Radio.
When we come back in the next segment, we're going to discuss there's another cancellation in Central Texas when it comes to high school football. Also, I'm not sure if you heard this story or not about New York Giants defensive back Logan Ryan, who was getting treatment very early in the morning, talked to a trainer because his wife was experiencing some pain, and he may have saved her life. We'll have that for you as well. 254-339-1122. T-Rex is checked in on the text line. We'll have him as well. And then later on, Connolly quarterback and senior Kavion Gaither, the Texas Built Ford Tough Player of the Week in 4A, in our conversation with him. This is SicEm 365 Radio. Ted Teague and his staff at Allen Samuels are ready to go. The holidays get back to Black Friday pricing all month long during the huge Black Friday sales event. Special incentives, financing, and still 0%, no payments for 90 days on almost everything on the lot. Right now, those big, beautiful Ram Lone Star crew cabs, employee pricing for all, 0% for 84 months or up to $3,750 in values. You also can get $1,000 back, an additional $1,000 if you own a competitive brand. No trade is required, by the way. No payments for 90 days. Central Texas Ram headquarters, amazing selection of Rams. And if they haven't gotten the Ram that you want, they will find it for you because of multiple Allen Samuels dealerships across the country and connections as well. Also, the Grand Cherokee Limited at 0% for 84 months. From Jeep, no payments for 90 days, or pick a cool Jeep Compass or rugged Jeep Renegade. Subcompact, your pick, because both feature employee pricing for all. 0% for 72 months and no payments for 90 days. So that is right there, something that I hope and should get your attention. Allen Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat, AllenSamuelsDCJ.com, and also on the Loop 340 and east of 84 in Waco.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new, pre-owned Bird Culchin Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership. Online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culchin Ford.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Arturo Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, specializing in diagnosis and treatment of any and all sport-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service to Central Texas. They tackle all surgical and non-surgical problems that arise from an active lifestyle. Trust the doctors that Baylor trusts, and when injuries sideline you, don't wait for Monday. Join us at 8:30 on Saturday mornings for a post-game injury evaluation clinic. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. We get you back in the game.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Log on to the Willis Law Firm chat room on SicEm365.com.
All right, here we go. This SicEm365 lasts nearly 35 minutes of the show, last day of the week, and tomorrow we'll be live. What time is our pregame start? 6:30 kick?
4 o'clock.
4:30?
Is it 6:30 kick?
It's a 6 o'clock kick.
Oh, it's a 6 o'clock.
Yeah, it's a 6 o'clock kick.
4 o'clock.
So I'd say I've had an ad at the bottom of the screen all week. If it was wrong, that would be bad.
I think it is.
It's a 6 o'clock.
It's a 6 o'clock kick, so our show starts at 4. Is it say 6:30?
It's a 6 o'clock kick.
Well, that's weird.
We should probably know that.
But the Big 12 release that Joni Lehman sent out says 6:30. That's why I've been going by that. We'll be here. We'll be here 2 hours prior to the kickoff. It will take you up until a half an hour before the kickoff. So let's go over the Big 12. Also, there's a high school football note, and there's another game. You know, the game between Belton and Harker Heights had been canceled, and Belton had a flare-up. And then this just came out. Nikki Latarulo, is that right? She's fantastic at covering high school football. She just said the game between Killeen, which is their homecoming, and Copperas Cove High School has been canceled because of amid COVID concerns. And apparently it's the Copperas Cove side. And so that's 2 of the 3 games tonight in District 12 6A. So that's they're not playing. Temple plays Harker Heights. Temple plays Ellison tonight. So that is the one game that will be played.
And their game next week's already been called off.
Yeah, Temple Belton, which is the longtime rivalry, will not be played next week. Now, in the Big 12, let's go over this week game by game. Starting with the first one, it's West Virginia in Austin against Texas. I like what I saw from West Virginia last week.
I'm not big on West Virginia.
I know.
I'm going with Texas here. It's in Austin, so the Morgantown factor doesn't come into play, and I think that factor matters a lot. I really do. Even though it's not the same Morgantown from a few years ago, and it's certainly not the same this year with the lack of fans, but there is something about playing there. And with it being in Austin, UT had the big win last week, so I'll roll with them. I don't think West Virginia's been so impressive to where even with UT's struggles, I feel comfortable taking the Mountaineers on the road. So I'm expecting Texas to win this game.
Yeah, I think Texas wins. I worry that Oklahoma State fed their ego a little bit. And
it could go both ways, though.
Yeah, it could.
Confidence building.
Yeah, so... I worry that for I say worry. I mean, whatever, I'll worry. But I think that's what's happened. So I think Texas in this one, although I wouldn't be surprised to see West Virginia gave them all that they wanted. And look, West Virginia's defensive line, keeps them in almost every game.
They're fourth in the country in total defense. I mean, they've also played Kansas and Baylor, and that's going to help prop up your defensive stats. With all due respect to even with Baylor, and Oklahoma State was not a big high-scoring shootout.
And K-State's not some big high-scoring football team either. They can't throw the football. Like,
I was
literally
still
cannot throw the
that.
football.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've played one of the easier schedule. I mean, much like Baylor has. The thing about Baylor and their struggles is they haven't even played the best teams in the Big 12 yet.
No.
They played all the worst teams.
They're about to, though.
Yeah, they're about to. They're about to play Oklahoma and Oklahoma State and Iowa State. And so... and K-State and what have you. But, I mean, West Virginia's a good team. Texas is a good team, but they're both barely above average, in my opinion.
West Virginia's fourth in the country in total defense, is I think what I just said. And I don't know where they are when it comes to scoring defense. They're not. I don't see them among the top. They're 19th in the country. And, of course, we know Texas last week's defense played with their hair on fire. We'll see if they can do that in back-to-back weeks. You get them going, you never know. Kansas, oh boy, at Oklahoma, and Spencer Rattler in Oklahoma, really ever since he was sat down at the end of the first half against Texas. It's not like it's been flawless, but they're starting to look like they're in a pretty good group. But more importantly, their defense, at least from what I've seen, they're starting to make some plays, and their defensive line is starting to put pressure on the opposing quarterback.
Yeah, they're playing with confidence on defense. They've got, good athletes. Obviously, they've recruited really well for years and years now, but there was a different level of confidence to them the last couple of outings. And, it doesn't even matter. They could be playing with no confidence. They're still going to beat Kansas by 50 if they want to. It doesn't even matter what the Oklahoma defense is doing, because Kansas, even if they were playing a good game, is so bad that, even a run for them wouldn't amount to enough to counteract what Oklahoma's offense is assuredly going to do. And there was a couple of people that I recall that were wanting to write off Spencer, make these quick judgments and on him after the first couple of games, and he's been nothing but good since then. He's got all of the tools, and he just needs to play more, and he's going to be really good for the next 3 years.
He's sneakily getting some yardage. He's not going to beat you like Kyler Murray. He's starting to get a little confidence in knowing when to run, take off, and get 7 yards.
Well, yeah, but also give Lincoln Riley a little time to figure out the play calling for Spencer Rattler. And, I think not having the spring this year in particular, that was what kind of affected Lincoln Riley. Was I need to see what Spencer Rattler can do, and I'm going to run our offense and see if he can run our offense. And then opponents kind of exploited his lack of
he gambles too much.
Yeah, and he gambled and found out that, look, he's young and he's going to take chances. He's also young and confident. And look, sometimes that'll be, you get kind of that Jameis Winston thing in it where you're so confident in your arm that you think you can complete any pass. Well, that's not true, but it's kind of good to, I'd rather have that problem than the opposite. I'd rather tell them, hey, don't throw this, than to please throw the ball.
Yeah, kind of like Baylor fans on Saturdays.
Yeah, that's true. Texas Tech plays in Fort Worth against TCU. Both of those teams, Tech is 1-4, 2-4 overall. TCU is 2-3, but obviously coming off the nice win against Baylor. And they just found a way to stay alive.
I don't think Tech is very good. If Baylor loses to Tech, I don't care that game's in Lubbock, then that's going to be brutal because I don't think Tech is very good.
The problem, though, is they can score.
Yeah, they're all
really
over the place. And a lot of times they just score late. If you look at some of the games, they've just scored late because
they're averaging 30-something points a game.
Yeah, but
for Texas Tech, though, is that really what you're expecting?
No, they got to score 40 because of how they play defense.
This is not a team that is going to put up 50 on a regular basis. Columbia's been okay. He's been better than Alan Bowman, but there's there's nothing special about him, and there's nothing that's all that intimidating about Texas Tech. So,
all right, let's talk about you're right. But the Texas Tech, TCU wins pretty handily.
I don't know if they win handily because TCU's offense sucks.
30-17,
something like that. Yeah. Probably 24-17.
Well, look, I don't think TCU doesn't get to 30 last week without a punt return, and that's not going to happen every week. So I would think, maybe 30 just because Tech's defense is so bad, but I think that's TCU's. Hit their 33 that would be like the 58 they scored, when they used to have that high-flying offense. That's kind of their ceiling.
All right, so Oklahoma State, Kansas State both reeling after losses. Oklahoma State looked like they were just kind of cruising along, according to the fans. Why should we have to play Baylor the week before the Big 12 championship game? Craig, I hope you saved some of those tweets in case it won't be because Baylor is going to be there, but just because they thought it was just automatic. At Kansas State, where they just laid an egg at West Virginia. This is an elimination game in a way, because if Oklahoma, well, you know what? Both have one loss, and so does Iowa State. So the winner of this game stays in first place.
Yeah, K-State can't throw the football. They cannot throw the football. Deuce Vaughn is basically 95% of their offense. So if you can contain Deuce Vaughn, which is harder said than done, but he got contained last week. He only ran for 22 yards. Then you pretty much solved the puzzle. Olsen. So you've pretty much solved the puzzle. Yeah, he had a great article on Deuce, and then he had his worst game so far. But that's, you worry about Deuce Vaughn, and I don't know what else you really worry about too much other than the old K-State Bill Snyder. They block a punt or run a kickback. That's how they're going to win games. They're going to win games with Snyder ball, and it's never going to be real impressive or really pretty. But, they're capable of winning this game, but I'm not expecting them to win this game because I think Oklahoma State's going to be a lot sharper.
The winner stays in first place, basically.
Yeah, and I think that Spencer Sanders will be sharp. I think he's got a lot to prove after.
Sharp for him, still throwing 2 picks.
Yeah, but I think he'll be sharp, and he's got a little Favre in him. Where it's,
you know what? The 4 or 5 turnovers, whatever it was, deadly. It really came down to this. On 4th and 16 or 19, they ran into the shin of the punter that continued to drive, but Texas went down and scored. They're not a very smart team. You're not going to win the conference if you're dumb.
No, their coach has a mullet. What do you expect?
So now also, Baylor at Iowa State. Baylor winning last year on the kick by Mayers, 23-21. And I think Iowa State's been pointing this game since that game ended.
I'm not even, thinking about the outcome of this game. I've already said what the outcome is going to be. I expect Iowa State to win by 10 or more. So for me, with Baylor football from here on out, and this is what I did during 1-11, I'm just looking for growth. I'm looking for some optimism. I'm looking for some energy. I'm looking for some physicality. I'm looking for all of the staples that we've seen from Baylor football over the last 3 years to show up, because we didn't see physicality last week when they needed it early. We didn't see a lot of we didn't see any of the things that I just mentioned, basically. So if they go out there and they get beat by Iowa State, fine. Who's expecting them to beat Iowa State? Absolutely nobody. So go out there and just play a good game and see where that takes you. Because even if you come home with a loss, at least you played well. At least you played hard. But if they go out there and ho-hum around for 3 quarters like they did last week, like they pretty much have every week, quite frankly, if they do that, then it's going to get really ugly, and you're going to come back and we're going to have another week of sour moods and sour this and sour that. So at this point, you're not going to the college football playoff. You're not winning the Big 12. You're not playing for the Big 12. It's all about building. So build on Squirrel Williams last week, build on Yusuf Terry last week, and just play sharper.
Yeah. 98th in offense. Baylor is 98th out of 113 teams on total offense.
I would think the mantra for tomorrow is go have fun and get better.
Yeah,
go have fun and get better. And look, that can lead you to a lot of great places if you're just getting better. And I really, it's going to stress me out. I will say this. It's going to stress me out if I see 5 offensive linemen one series, and then the next series I see 2 different guys in a different alignment. They really, and I know I heard Dave Aranda's answer, they really need to pick a 5 and stick to it.
Yeah. T-Rex on the text line. Hello, Iowa. Time to paint Ames green and gold. Shock the world. Swing your sword, Baylor, and don't stop swinging until the last cyclone falls. See you tomorrow. Baylor Nation, SicEm. We will be bailing him out by sometime at the end of the weekend. TJ Rattler is Manziel-like. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here's a couple more notes. Logan Ryan, and I know we have Kavion Gaither to get to. He was hurt. He had, they were playing, where were they playing? I don't know. It was late at night.
Playing the Bucks.
Okay. He had something where he was hurt. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. And so he mentioned to a trainer that his wife was feeling intense stomach pain, and this was, again, 1 o'clock in the morning, and wanted to sleep it off. I talked to one of our trainers about the symptom. He says, no, she needs to go straight to the emergency room, and he had suffered a hip injury. She ended up going to surgery and ended up saving her and preventing a lot of what could have been done. Apparently, she had, an ectopic pregnancy.
Ectopic, yeah.
With a fertilized egg growing outside of a woman's uterus. That's what she was doing. And so her fallopian tube was about to burst. The trainer told that to Logan Ryan. He called his wife. She went to ER, saved her life.
Yeah, that's an
Pretty
incredible
cool.
story. And, I think somebody should write a book about crazy athletic trainer stories. You ever sit down and talk to a trainer about some of the injuries or some of the things they figure out? It's nuts.
All right. We'll also, tomorrow again, we'll have our pregame. It is a 6 o'clock kick is what it says on the press release. It's different than the Big 12 release. So we'll be on the air at what time, Paul? 4 o'clock tomorrow. All right, there's a couple of orange stories to get to. This is something that I saw from Max Olson, in fact. The Southeastern Conference changed some of their protocol. Paul, I sent this to you. It's way too complicated. But basically, the policies in place for the two critical phases of returning to play vary from conference to conference. No clear consensus yet on the best way to execute them. The SEC, for example, just changed one of its return-to-play policies. COVID-19 impacting, let's see here. Did you read this enough to work?
Okay, so here's.
Is this a myocarditis?
Yeah, so myocarditis. The biggest thing before was they were requiring a lot of battery of tests for myocarditis for anybody. But if you were asymptomatic or had very mild symptoms, they're now not requiring as many tests. Like you have to go through an EKG, but you don't have to go through a week's worth.
Did the SEC do this because they were worried that their next Trevor Lawrence could go through this?
Well, yeah, and the research just doesn't point to it. Yeah. So again,
good.
It's also, and I hate to put it this way because you're talking about human beings here, but I mean, why are you running medical tests you don't need to run?
All right, I agree. All right.
Dan Watkins crying so hard.
Oh, my God.
Now.
Yeah, he is.
So sad.
So we break here. Armstrong, or we go break first? Paul?
No, we got to break first.
Okay, let's break. We'll come back with my conversation with Conley Sr., Kavion Gaither. This is SicEm365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street in Waco. If you're a craft beer fan, if you like a lot of varieties of craft beer, go in there, check out their walk-in fridge. You're going to be thrilled with the amount of craft beer they have. If you need a recommendation for something, whether it be wine, spirits, beer, whatever, they can make a recommendation for you. If you're looking for something specific that maybe might be hard to find, like you're from another part of the country or you had something, you can't quite place it, believe me, the Chapmans and everybody there, they'll figure it out. They'll point you in that right direction, too. It's a hidden gem in Waco. Like I said, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street, a convenient drive-through. I've used it several times. It's fantastic. Go on by there. Get ready for the weekend. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott at edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T is board-certified physician consultations, will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingram with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Texas Board Certified Personal Injury Trial Lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
Automatic Chef Canteen is a full-service micro-market vending and office coffee provider with state-of-the-art vending equipment, a wide variety of products, and offering custom-fitted micro-market vending office coffee solution for your employee break room. You want a full break room solution and workplace oasis? Well, Automatic Chef Canteen, locally owned and operated for over 50 years in Central Texas, also includes in-house mechanics on call 24/7 for fast, reliable service and maintenance. Automatic Chef Canteen, 6900 Imperial Drive, AutomaticChefCanteen.com.
Welcome back to SicEm 365 Radio. Are you a SicEm 365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at SicEm365.com.
As we close out this show, earlier this week, I had a chance to visit with Conley senior quarterback Kavion Gaither. He had the big moment, the 2-point conversion to beat China Spring last Friday. But it's more than that. He was named the Texas Built Ford Tough 4A Player of the Week. He is very special. You will hear him discuss a lot of what's been behind the scenes at Conley. Not even COVID-related, some of that, but also just players that had not been on board or some that just left. This is a young man who shows his leadership on the field. He's very quiet, but he does his job. In my conversation with Conley quarterback and linebacker Kavion Gaither. Conley Sr., everything he does, of course, quarterback, at times running back earlier this year. Sometimes he's punted, punt returns, and plays a great linebacker position as well. Kavion Gaither with a SicEm 365 Radio. Have you come down from that high of 46-45 overtime against China Spring?
Yes, I believe I have. It was a great experience, one of the best memories that I'll ever have for the rest of my life. But I have to know that, we have better things to accomplish and more things to achieve.
Yeah, you do, because now this is how you're measured, right? Programs are measured by what you do once you get to the postseason, and you got a little break here. How nice is it to have a break to kind of decompress after a big win, or would you rather be playing again this week?
I feel like getting a break. I mean, either or. I'm good with whatever. I'm good to play this week, or I'm good to take a break. But I feel like having this break for us, we'll be able to use it to our advantage and be able to get those that are injured or those who got some bruises or anything to get them healed up.
Well, I've been, you're sitting here next to me, and you got bumps and bruises all over yourself, but that's you never come off the field. What is it like when you wake up? You're young, and obviously you're fine, but you sometimes wake up on Saturday morning and you go, oh.
Nah, I don't think so. I mean, I'm just thankful for this moment, really. Just being able to play football. I'd rather have all the bruises in the world, all the bumps in the world, to play football, a sport that I love. So really, just being able just to get up on Friday on game day, just being able to play with my brothers and my family, it's a great thing.
You were supposed to be more of the running back this year, and obviously you have played just like last year, a lot of the year, if not most of it, as a quarterback. How did you adjust to that? I know you'll do anything. If they told you to play left tackle, Kavion Gaither would play left tackle. But how has that been that you thought that was your role? We discussed that with you in the summer, and yet you're right back where you were a year ago.
Yes, sir. I think it was an easy adjustment for me. I feel like I've been doing a good job at quarterback, and I have also last year. So, I knew I'm just going to be ready for whatever position the coach wants me to play, I'm in for it. So, really, it's just all about being in the best position for this team, just putting the best 11 out there. And so I feel like my teammates and my coaches have the most confidence in me whenever I'm at that QB spot.
You're starting to get some interest from schools around the state of Texas, and other schools are starting to maybe look at you at the next level. I know you have focus on what's going on right now. What has that attention been like? I know it's not probably as much as you want, but do you feel like people are starting to understand what you bring to the table?
I feel like teams are understanding a little more that what I'm capable of and what my potential on playing in the next level. I try not to worry about it as much, but then again, I feel like I am ready for that next level, and I feel like everything happens for a reason, and it will come eventually. Do you feel like you're going to wait this out? Because there's a long way to go. The December is the National Signing Day, and then there's the one in February, that first Wednesday. What's your timeline? Have you thought much about that? I've thought about my timeline a little bit. I know for sure that I'm for sure waiting. I think I'll just focus on playoffs right now, really, okay. And then I'm pretty sure I have an idea that I'll probably sign in December. So okay, all right. So we got to go back to Friday again. I know it's your next game. It might be center in Madisonville a week from Thursday, but the ball snapped to you. You're supposed to do what? Stretch right? Is that the play call in overtime? Yes, sir. It's stretch right quarterback. All right. That means you just somehow will your way, get blocked, power it up on the right side. You've done that a lot, and yet again, they know you're coming too. Everyone knew you were going to have the ball. The ball is low on the snap. Sometimes the reaction is to just fall on it, and that would have ended the game. Take me through your mental thoughts when Shane goes, we're going for two. What was said in the huddle on the sideline, and just take us through the play. Okay, so he was just telling us, we're gonna go for it. I feel like if we don't get it, we're all in for it, whether we get it or not. We're all in this as a team. I feel like it was a great decision. And so whenever we was walking out on the field, started getting them jitters a little bit. But I was meant for this moment. I knew I was going to be able to capitalize. And so as soon as at the beginning of the play, he told me to scoot up a little bit so I had less time to run. And so I feel like that's what made me not realize the snap. And so I dropped the snap, and then my first intention was to pick it up because this was the game on the line. This was our last chance. So I had to pick it up and go. I couldn't fall on there or trip and fall. So I picked it up, and then I saw some dudes to the left, so I had to make a couple miss, and then I rolled over to the right, and then I noticed someone put their hand up. It's my dude Branche. I noticed him put his hand up, and so I just threw it to him, and I was falling down, and then I was just looking in the sky, and then everyone started going crazy. It was a great feeling. It was a real great experience. You guys were 12-1 last year, won some big games. Is that the most exciting win you've been a part of in your career? I would have to say yes. That was one of the most exciting. I guess you could say because it was my senior year also and me making the play. But even if it wasn't me, I feel like it's amazing. It's great when teams are good, like they're really good. China Spring, Bowden, and Abdallah, and a lot of guys are on that team are good. To push you like that, is there any chance that because how good that game was and you had to come back, they pushed you, that maybe that gives you guys the spark that had been missing in some of the games you've played this year? Yes, sir. I feel like, honestly, that we're playing our best brand of football, just being able to compete with a great team like China, and they're great. They have such great coaches and great players. You know, I feel like we were down on them, and so it just coming back and being able to be down 24/7 and being able to come back. It tells me a lot of fight in this team, and it just tells me that we have a long way. I feel like we got a long way to go and a lot of confidence in this team.
Coach Anderson and I had talked about this, and I think he had a talk with Trey about this, Trey Wisner, that he's had big games, but not in the games against Springtown, La Vega, and Salado, and he had 1 yard rushing at halftime. And you need him. Now, you need everybody, and what Jermone's doing, and what Wiggins is doing, and what Ashton Brooks Williams is doing in the backfield as well, plus everybody around. But how good was it to see Trey explode at a big moment?
Oh man, it was great. You know, I feel like the much bigger games when we needed him, you know, I feel like he didn't come to with his part, but you know, he came and he proved himself that he can come apart in big games also, and so I feel like that's a big help for me, and it just helps me be able to just relax a little bit and know that I have someone next to me being able to do the same things I can do.
Well, you may not know this. I think you might know this, but the Texas Built Ford Tough Texas High School Class 4A Player of the Week, I nominated you. I'm sure others did as well, because you also had 16 tackles and other things as well. The game-winning 2-point conversion, 200 yards rushing, the touchdowns. What does that mean to you? Because there were some amazing nominations this week.
Oh, man, it's a blessing. You know, I feel like it's more of a team goal than a team it's more of a team goal than an individual goal, because I feel like without my team, you know, I'm not put in the position that I'm in. So I want to thank all my teammates and also my coaches for putting me in the position. You know, without them, you know, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Kavion, this has been a rough year. You've had guys leave the program, and you've had to deal with the ups and downs of COVID. You've had players who have been selfish at times throughout the year, and they've had to be addressed, and some of them have maybe grown up during that time and taken on accountability. How has it been to see this team grow up a little bit along the way?
It's a great feeling, you know, just being able to see where we came as a program from the first game to our last game of the regular season. You know, I just feel like, once again, I feel like everything happens for a reason, you know, and I really believe that Coach A, I believe in what Coach A does in the decisions he makes. So I'm all in for it. Whatever decision he makes, then I'm all in for it. I respect him a lot.
And you've been doing all your stuff academically and doing all the things you have to do. It's a load right now for anyone at your age, isn't it?
Yes, sir. I feel like you have to be very disciplined in this time era, because just being able just to go home and do your work, you know, not a lot of students are disciplined enough to go home and do your work. So for me, having just a stable home and great parents, you know, it's great. You know, I feel like it's easy for me.
Yeah, your mom and dad, they have to be thrilled because of what you are, your family. How fortunate in this day and age, you know that your home is solid foundation and you have been raised the way you've been raised?
Oh, it's just a blessing. You know, some people wish for that opportunity to be able to have two parents at the home, or even a home, or food on your table, all that stuff. So I'm really thankful, and I thank God for blessing me with this opportunity. And I'm just here to just live up His dream and just make sure that I'm making my parents proud.
Kavion Gaither, quarterback, linebacker, Texas Built Ford Tough, Class 4A Player of the Week in Texas, and SicEm365 Radio. All right, thanks to Kavion Gaither, and a lot of response on that from people on the timeline on Twitter. Appreciate that. One said that's as nice or as comfortable of a high school football interview as he's ever heard, not because of anything I did, but because of Kavion. And we dug into some things as well. He talked about both of his parents and how he has friends and teammates and classmates that wish that was the case, you know, that he's very fortunate that both of them are very heavily in his life.
I talked to him before the first game, and I asked him, like, you know, who grounds him? And he's like, my parents. I mean, like, they keep not grounds him like he gets in trouble, but keeps him grounded. Because, again, you know, when you're a young kid and everybody looks at you, and he's confident. You heard him say after our game last week, I'm Batman and Trey Wisner's Robin. That's confidence, and that's good. Yep. That's fun. Yep. But sometimes, like, you can start to believe you're actually Batman. He has structures in place in his life where that'll never happen. I mean, he is such a great kid. He's such I kind of would like to. I mean, you got to interview him. I would interview him every week. He's great.
Yeah, we could. You're right.
Yeah.
All right. So this wraps up the week. We will be here tomorrow at 4 for the Baylor and Iowa State game in Ames and the pregame show. And then after the game, J.D. Piquel and also Drake will be here. Drake Toll will be here for the postgame show. Tomorrow, Armstrong, you have a heavy lifting again tomorrow. A great job, all by himself today. He's done it a couple of times this week, I think. Is that right, Armstrong?
That's correct, and it's very difficult.
We can get you a massage and a hot tub and a spa or something, to take on the week that you've had. Appreciate you as always, man. We really do. Who was the young man from Texags that came through here today?
That was Dalton. He's the producer down at Texags, the TV producer.
And he gave us a little insight, couple of things.
I was getting his thoughts on the studio and some advice.
He did ask Armstrong, how do you stay in the same room so that you can't talk S about your hosts?
Yep.
Wow.
He said,
so that's
Armstrong, do we need to get a little plastic divider?
Well, I would like to be in a separate room, Not so I can talk behind your back, but, for sound reasons.
I get it. In fact, when we were at another place, we had all these plans about what a real studio, like a studio that would be the producers in one room, which is what I had for nearly 20 years, and the studio separate. Because there's a lot that goes on in a studio room, especially at a station. Yet also,
we did the exact opposite. We put them in our lap.
Yeah, we basically did. It was, and then you have salespeople that just walk through the door as if Yeah, I know that was
If we for the future, if we have interns and stuff, I'd like to be able to say, hey, do this, hey, do that, build this graphic, whatever. But when
but I don't really hear you much. Maybe it's on the air. I don't know. It's
well, we talk quietly.
We ought to look at maybe some sort of a spit cup over there, where they can't. Thanks to David Woodard at West, John King at Longview. We went statewide today. Carlos Lynn at Cedar Hill, Claude Mathis DeSoto, Grayson Grunhafer, KJ Morton was fantastic. Lee Sterling, Scott Stewart, Tyler Holcomb. They got a game tonight down in Bryan. Good for them. Dave Aranda and also Kavion Gaither. Tomorrow, Craig, back at it again tomorrow at 4 o'clock. You ready? We'll see what happens.
I'll be ready at 4.
That game again, as we mentioned, the game between Killeen and Coppers Cove joins the game between Belton and Harker Heights is being canceled tonight or postponed in 12-6A. Paul, thank you. Appreciate all your time. Appreciate our great sponsors, as always, every one of them that's been with us since day one and those who have joined since that time and continue to join as well. I'm David Smoke. Have a great Friday night of high school football. We'll see you tomorrow at 4. SicEm 365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Parenting is full of surprises.
You never know what to expect.
So after our son was born, I called my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent to set up a life insurance policy in case something happened to me.
Sawyer is now 2.
And we'll soon have a sister. There's no one else I would trust with protecting my family.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, specializing in diagnosis and treatment of any and all sport-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service to Central Texas. They tackle all surgical and non-surgical problems that arise from an active lifestyle. Trust the doctors that Baylor trusts, and when injuries sideline you, don't wait for Monday. Join us at 8:30 on Saturday mornings for a post-game injury evaluation clinic. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. We get you back in the game. A
group of over 30 physicians in Central Texas became frustrated seeing patients fail at losing weight themselves. They opened Muscle-Wise Nutrition. We've seen too many patients suffer from complications of obesity. Patients who have tried countless do-it-yourself diets, which often results in 25% of the weight they lose coming from muscle breakdown and muscle loss. We needed another approach, so we opened Muscle-Wise Nutrition. This is a coach-managed diet program to lose substantial weight, targeting fat while sparing muscle. Dieters are seen weekly by a coach who performs detailed body composition analysis. Please email us at SicEm365 at MuscleWiseNutrition.com, and one of our coaches will contact you promptly to get you set up for our free educational seminars. Lose weight by losing fat and sparing muscle. Start Muscle-Wise today. Contact us at SicEm365 at MuscleWiseNutrition.com.
How can we help you? That's a question we ask every day at American Bank. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Our commitment to our customers is what drives us. It's why we've invested in new branch buildings and technology like ITMs that let you speak to a teller face-to-face from your car. It's why we work with local businesses, helping Waco grow and thrive. And it's why decisions about your accounts and loans are made here in Waco by people who know you. How can we help you? Find out at American Bank, member FDIC.